As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Well. Good evening, folks. How are you all doing tonight? I'm probably thinking, what was the photo all about? There was a reason, there was a purpose behind all of that. That was obviously for those who are not in the know, that was Paul Di'Anno. He is the original vocalist of Iron Maiden, and he had passed on earlier this week at around, I think, age 66. It was around 64, 66. I'm pretty sure it was 66. So I figured it was a very just wanted to pay homage and respects to a absolute great and the man who, well, is the singer on the very first two Iron Maiden albums, the original vocalist, Mr. Paul Di'Anno. So I mean, he did self-titled album Iron Maiden, and then of course he went on to the album Killers, which is my preferable of the two. I like them both, but Killers I absolutely love. So yeah, Castor won't be here tonight. He's got his father in town, so he's gonna enjoy time with the dad. But we got our dudes coming, and we got obviously Russ Leach, which I'm really excited about having him on. It's gonna be absolutely awesome to have him on. And yes, rest in peace, Paul. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Maiden were absolutely essential. Even if you don't know the genre, Maiden is such like a essential name. Absolutely straight up, full stop. It ain't even up for dispute. You can't challenge that. So it's great to see. But anyways, let's get this going. Okay. Let's acknowledge some names here in our chat. Okay. Seems come on in. Okay, let's see here. All right, hold on. Bear with me here, guys. I got someone who's trying to get in here, and I'm gonna try to let him on in here again. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. Hopefully it should work. But let's acknowledge some faces here. Let's see here. And of course, we got the great Vince Womack, Vulcan lives, Jonathan Conroy, my friend Dave C. What's up, Dave C? How you doing, sir? Neil, Steve Mitchum. Hello, gentlemen. 5 picoseconds. What's up? There he is. I see a combo blind ball. Time to join. All right, I sent the link to you again, man. Hopefully it works today. What's up, Christian Delorme? He's been a member for 14 months. He says, huge 69 Slayer. Send me your mailing address, mofo. Check your XMA. All right, I'll check it tonight or tomorrow. I will check it out. Hey, Gonzalo Bergali, what's going on, Gonzalo? Thank you guys for being in here early and right away. See here. All right. Russ, I sent the link to you again because for those of you who are not in the know, Russ is our guest tonight. So he was on here many moons back. So he's a returning guest. So he obviously did the Kull comic, The Shadow Kingdom, his adaptation of a Robert E. Howard story. So we'll bring him. Oh, I see him backstage. Awesome. We'll bring him on soon. Awesome. Perfect. I want to highlight a comment from Neil before I bring him on in. It says, hey everyone, I just heard Jeremy Adams is going to be doing Aquaman hype. Finally, a good ride on my boy. Neil, you and I, sir, are speaking the same language because I actually like Arthur Curry as well. I love that. I'm a big Peter David fan. And I have been reading what Jeremy Adams is doing with Flash Gordon because I've been hearing a lot of hype about him with the Flash and Green Lantern. And I was like, okay, people have been talking about him for a while. They're really enthusiastic about him. Awesome. So I'm like excited about that. So it's like, okay, cool. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'll eventually check out something he does. So then of course Flash Gordon starts up. And then as soon as Flash Gordon kicks in, 3 issues, I'm like, this is freaking awesome. I can see that the hype is real for this guy. I did a video about it earlier this week. I don't know if you caught it, Neil, but do go on your save it to your watch later tab. I definitely did some commentary about this because it's big news. And for DC and what's going on with DC Comics, it might be the only time we get news. So about DC and it being legitimately great news. So that's up, Tim Hayes. How you doing here? How you doing? All right. Where's Jesse? He'll be on soon. But I do got Russ backstage, and I see his screen, but I don't see him.
This is the first time I've been in this. Where are the settings?
Oh, this. Are you adjusting your settings for this Streamlabs?
Yeah, I've not been in here before. Please excuse the
You're good, man.
the difference. Where am I? All right, there you go. Okay,
Go and get yourself sorted out. I still got
I
some
think there
extra
you
space.
go.
Oh,
There you go.
perfect.
It's okay, caller. I've sorted that problem.
Nice. Oh, what's up? Emblazon 64. He's another one of our regulars. Hello, sir. And welcome to the show, Gavin. I don't think I've seen you comment here before, but welcome. Hold on. I do recognize your avatar. I do recognize it. Never mind. I feel like I've seen you around before. He says, and he's doing great stuff. Been on his Lantern Gordon stuff. Still need to check out his flashlight. Well, my buddy Andrew, he Rodriguez, he works at Ripperverse. He read his flash run and he really, really liked it. And Andrew is a major Wally West guy, so that should tell you something. And he was really initially skeptical, as any rightful human being should be. So when he told me he really enjoyed it, I was like, okay, cool. So good to know Gavin's enthusiastic about his way. And who knows, guys? I mean, I don't think that company is back in any ways. I know they got press going on with Absolute Batman, but for me, what I see with Jeremy Adams and Aquaman, I see as nothing more than a luck of the draw, per se. Now, if it expands upon that and I'm wrong, okay, great, awesome. But we have Russ here. He's got his camera showing. We see him. He looks great. He looks awesome. Yeah, you do look awesome. And I see you have a Marvin Martian. Is that a statue in back of you?
Yeah, just got one back here.
Dude.
There's a Batman.
And that's a Batman. Nice.
Batman.
Oh my goodness. Dude, literally. And now I'm regretting not using my Marvin Martian glass because I have a Marvin Martian glass. He's literally my favorite Looney Tune character. Like that, full stop. That's my guy right there.
Yeah, it's
yeah. We got Jennifer Grover right away. Canadian $3 says, "Hey guys, I'm really right now. Oh, good. That's what we're about to do too. Cheers to you, Jennifer. Thank you for the Canadian $3. That's what's up." Adams deserves to do Super Batman. He's more than he has earned the right. Maybe he has earned the right, assuming that everything you guys are saying is true. But what I like about him doing a different book is it gets to help him prop up a lesser known character. So assuming that's what I like to see it as, because the DC universe does not get acknowledged enough outside of the Trinity. So I feel like that is in my opinion, that's the preferable move. It'd be easy for him to do one of those books, but that's just me. Once again, if there's one guy who's, going to carry that boat, I don't know how Adams is going to do it, but hey, I'm glad he's at least trying. But Russ, how are you doing, sir? Now that you're all situated.
Yeah, I'm all sorted out now. Yeah, fine. Thank you. Yes. Up late.
Nice. It's good to have you back, man.
Thanks for having me on. It's always good fun.
Oh, my pleasure.
Always good excuse to drink whiskey. So.
All right. No, it is a drinking stream, and we enjoy the finer things of life here. It's almost like our job here. So it's like if we ain't doing that, well then what are we doing here? Our chat expects it. I expect it because I'm just like, hold on, what is the point of this show? But dude, so if I pick up says excited for Atlantean #1. So dude, why don't you fill us in on what's been going on in the last few months? Well, with the Atlantean, just Russ Leach, the comic book maker.
It's been focused on the Robert E. Howard stuff. So Kull, there you go, Shadow Kingdom that came out.
Got it. On my copy.
Really pleased with that. We had a lot of great responses to that book. Mm-hmm. And it's public domain. The Shadow Kingdom itself is public domain, so we can do what we want with it. And of course, we were very respectful with it. We feel we did the closest adaptation that anyone's done in graphic novel form. And we wanted to take Kull and Brawl and go on a hunt. We wanted to go on a road trip, as it were, like a buddy cop movie. Like a bit like Logan's Run or the old Planet of the Apes series, and we wanted to take it out on a a pulpy kind of adventure tale, as it were, and do it in series, in individual books. So we wanted to do a magazine, and that's what the Atlantean is. It's the hunt for the Serpent Kingdom, and we wanted to do it kind of like sort of a Savage Sword of Conan. We wanted to do black and white with a painted cover, and that's just what we've done. The book's ready to go to print, with the second one already on the board, which will be available in the new year.
I love it. I love it. No, dude, that's so awesome. And I was one of the guys who backed the Shadow Kingdom. Absolutely loved
Thank
it.
you.
Read it a few times, and it was such a joy to like revisit it and just see it in your guys' take, which obviously you guys did whatever it takes to keep us true to the original story. And your art was fantastic. It really fit the atmosphere. Even the colors of the story fit the story as well, because it's one thing we get the pencilers on, that's always cool, but then when the colors fit, you're like, dude,
we really wanted to have that 70s vibe. That was what we were after the whole sort of the Conan monthlies. So rather than the Savage Sword, but then we wanted to do it more regularly with episodic content, and decided to go for the 50 pages in black and white 3 times a year. So that's where we're heading now. So
I like that. Now, was that something that you guys decided to change along the way after going all in with the color on the Shadow Kingdom, or they just kind of be like, hey, this story kind of like fits as black and white, why add color to it? Like, was that always a plan, or did it just kind of like just come up as you guys went along? I want to know, because that is intriguing.
Well, we did the first one. Color books are. It depends on the market, depends on the demographics. Some people like color, some people just don't like black and white. They don't sell as well.
Yes.
But so that was a thing that we had to take into account, and we went for the color in the first one and wanted to have a particular look once we decided to go for the color. But there was always a plan to do a black and white book. So that's because we love Savage Sword of Conan, and that was kind of we wanted to play with those kind of vibes. So that was always going to happen if we got the chance, and we got such a good response from the first book, we thought, yeah, let's do it. So we're on a journey now, along with Kull and Brawl, and we'll see where it goes. I'm in it for a year, so we'll see how the readership goes. If I could get to, I know this sounds large, but it seems to be a conservative figure. I think if I can get between 500 and 1,000, we can even drop the price of the book, because it's only $15.
Yeah.
So, we could drop it even further if we could just get a big enough readership. So you start off small and see where you go. Quality and quality of art, quality of storytelling, and consistency, getting that book out. So hopefully by this time next year, we're on issue 4, and people are going, right, okay, this is around to stay. We like this. It's good quality. Let's keep it up, and hopefully we can increase the readership.
No, it's cool. But I like you guys did some big changes with this. And even if you look at not just the you've gone from colors to black and white, and then you get the formatting of when it was like more like a thick trade paperback. Now you're going for the magazine, the Savage Sword thing, which is very Savage Sword, really cool. It's definitely gonna make it really feel authentic and of its time, which I love as well. And it does bring down the price by default cheaper when you do have that magazine formatting versus the default trade paperback. So that is a smart move. That's actually a really logical step. So now I'm gonna know. So this is gonna be a weird question. Does this magazine come with the new comic smell?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right. No? Yeah. Well. Yeah. No, I don't. Hope not. It's not going to have shiny pages. It's gonna be uncoated. It's going to be as thin a paper as I can get it on for the price, and it's going to be that magazine feel as close as I can get to it. Unfortunately, we can't get to newsprint. That's exactly what I would do, but it's really difficult to make that work for the price range. But I don't know if you had Only Death Can Save Us. You probably didn't. But that was what I was trying to do with that. Have very lightweight paper. I got the lightest weight paper I could get
Yeah.
without show through from the
Okay.
other side of the paper, and it had that kind of 90s sort of graphic novel feel about it. So if that's as close as we can get to newsprint, then, but it'll be a quality book. So
Oh, I have no doubts in my mind about that. So, welcome to the show, Pablo.
Howdy ho!
Hey. How you doing, man?
My dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of fuming. My government is maybe one of the stupidest governments on earth, and that's saying too much because you had camera. Sorry, what? No, yeah.
I was about to say, get in the queue, get in the
Dude.
line. Sorry,
Dude, we are on a drought. So my country doesn't have water to generate electricity, and we use almost 100% hydroelectric electricity. So it's really difficult to have anything running. And now we are having 14 hours without electricity a day. And in some cases, the cuts are random. It's not a single cut. You have 10 hours of electricity continually. No, you have from this hour and this hour, you have electricity. Then you have a couple of hours of no electricity. Then you have an hour of electricity. Then the rest of the day, you're fucked.
Holy shit.
Dude, is
okay, fair enough. That is pretty awful.
Yeah. And my government decided that we have next week full-on 5 days holiday, mandatory holiday, by the way. So companies need to send their employees in this kind of vacation. And they are telling us to go out and party up. Go to the beach, go to the different touristic attractions, and just spend money. We don't have food. How the fuck are we spending money if we don't have money to spend, right?
I think you just summed up government in all countries, not maybe I won't broad brush, in a lot of countries in a nutshell. We'll just say a lot.
Yeah, as I said, you guys have the people that you have right now in government, and it's fun enough because I have seen a lot. Today I have, for example, Robert Downey Jr. Give an interview. He was talking about Iron Man and Elon Musk, and that's the only part where his politics kinda went away because he's still, I'm a white recovering man and everything. And then he goes in the most wise thing that he should say to the government and not to Elon Musk. Just shut up and keep doing whatever work you can, and people will appreciate that because you are doing something good for the world. Yeah, and people were reading about that. You should be reading about what he said about Trump and about the elections and everything else, because the guy had one moment of brilliance and everything else was stupid as fuck.
Yeah, I know. It's right now everything is absolutely crazy and redonkulous, and everyone's tempers are absolutely flaring. That's why we need tonight, so we can not really
you will
dwell
eat the
on it
boogs and be happy.
Yeah. By the way, Nick, I'm full caught up on Conan, and I will say this issue hits hard at home. So when we are talking about that, I will have a couple of opinions about that because I actually enjoy it.
I look forward to hearing that. So and Blazing 64 had a question, and I think we might need some clarification. Will early volumes be available on? I think in his campaign he already has the previous volume, The Shadow Kingdom, available for backing. Here I'm gonna post the link again in the chat. Here you go, Blazing.
The way that we want to do it is, and this isn't good for crowdfunding campaigning, because obviously you're always saying to someone you can get it another time. But the idea will be you can pick up issue 2 when issue 1 when issue 2 comes out. We'll be able to print on demand the previous issues. So I want people to be able to buy them. I want people to be able to read them. So I'm not going to say, once issue 1's gone, it's gone. There's definitely an issue as in if you get a crowdfunding version of whatever book I do, it's always going to be slightly different. to anything that goes out to retail. So, for instance, the Shadow Kingdom, you can pick it up on Amazon now, Barnes and Noble and places like that. You can go straight to Critical Blast's website and pick it up direct. But that version is not the same as the version that everybody got in the original crowdfunder and will never be repeated. So
it's probably
when you
missing
get
a lot of the notes that came with it, like some of the
Yeah.
liner notes, or
Yeah.
then there's the forward by like Razor Fist, stuff
That's
like that.
right.
You don't
Yeah,
get
I
all
love that.
that.
you don't get all that, no.
that with the mass print
with a mass
editions, which you're
edition.
getting at.
And the idea is that if anybody, supports us in that way, they should get something that's unique.
Yeah.
So that's the first printing. It's the only printing. That's what happens. But with these magazines, what will happen is we will keep reprinting through every crowdfunder that we do. And at some point in the future, we will, the idea, the plan is to put them together in an omnibus so that people will be able to get the larger, the omnibuses as well. But hopefully people will be wanting to get the whole thing. So have reading copies or an omnibus and then have collecting copies or whatever. But yes, the short answer is if you wait until campaign 2 and buy issue 2, issue 1 will be available as well. So I've just cut my profits down for this campaign, but that's the way it's going to be because we want readers. We want people to read the book.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And it's what Marvel used to do with first runs. That used to have that bit of a special, and then if you are going for the second run, well, you are not getting the cool cards or that shit.
Yeah.
But you are still getting a goddamn good story, so it's still worth it.
What's up, Stephen MKLL? And our buddy Conan is here as
Conan.
well. Crom!
Crom.
Yeah. So Conan, we got to show you something, because since you're here and your buddy Kull is one of our main features tonight, let's look at some of this badassery stuff here. So guys, we're gonna look at the Fund My Comic page for the Atlantean issue number 1, and we're gonna start off with this mighty dandy cover. Dude, where is it here? Right here. All right. Oh my goodness. What's up, Brian McCann? You guys are coming at the right time as we're looking at some great badass material here. This is the Atlantean. I love the way this cover looks here. You got the classic strip to the top left, kind of like the old Marvel, old DC used to do. I love that. And then you got the subtitle at the bottom corner. And then you got an obviously absolutely breathtaking cover right here. Like, holy smokes. You look at that, you just feel like you want to have an axe in your hand with a glass of whiskey on the other hand. This is one of those covers. This is like, man, I feel so. I'm like, bro, I feel like testosterone is just oozing off my body as I look at this cover.
Go have an axe.
So who did this cover?
This is Marcio Freire. I think I've got his name right.
Okay.
But if he is watching, if you're out there, sorry if I've butchered it. We work with a publisher called Red Dragon in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
And they publish Portuguese version of the Shadow Kingdom book that we did. And they're also going to be producing a Portuguese version of the Atlantean as well for that market.
Uh-huh.
And they use Freire for a lot of their books. So we thought it was a good idea to use him. He also did the hardback version cover for the Shadow Kingdom as well. So we've already worked with him before. He's a great artist, absolutely brilliant. It's all digital art, but it's based on my pencils. So each issue, you get my pencils that I've inked on the inside front cover, and a painted version of that cover obviously on the front, so that you can see what we were going for. Next issue, I think we have Ink Spots. I don't know if anybody knows of Ink Spots. I've worked with this guy before. He's a fabulous artist.
Uh-huh.
I've worked with him on Only Death Can Save Us, and I've got him lined up to do the next cover. So we'll keep it fresh. I'm sure we'll be back to Marcio at some point in time, because he's a fantastic artist.
Just for clarification, is it hand-drawn dot, or are you using the matrix that you will use for printing? Because it's different. You use the dots by hand. They are not in a grid. It's completely basically random. So you get deeper shadows, a lot of more detail. But when you do the dot matrix for printing,
Right.
for getting that old school comic look, it's just a matrix. So you can basically predict everything and you cannot force deepness.
No, I don't. As far as I'm aware, there is no visual confusion. I don't know the exact print process that Critical Blast use because there are printers in the US. But as far as I'm aware, it's standard.
Okay, nice. I love that old comic book feel.
Yeah, yeah. Everything we do is effectively inspired by Bronze Age stuff, so 70s and 80s. It's stuff that I loved, I still love. It's stuff that I collect, and so it's what I produce. It's pretty much as simple as that. We do what we love. So
That's what's up, man. Let's look at some of your interiors, because, dude, you got some. We'll emphasize on this
Nice.
one. Yeah, we'll get on the toxicity here with this one here.
oh, there's plenty of that in there.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't doubt it for one bit. I mean, it's like it's it's a surface trait that kind of comes with a lot of these particular Howard characters. Not all of them per se, but for like guys like Conan and Kull, especially those type of guys, it definitely is necessary. It's not something necessary for like Solomon Kane or Dark Agnes, sure, but for Conan and Kull, I mean, this is right up the rally, right up the rally. Dude,
we
this is a
comment
stunning
on
page.
we
Go ahead.
comment on Cull's approach to the female side of the race in issue
Oh,
2. In issue
okay.
2, so and there is some humor, and we don't hold back. So
Nice. So is Cole, is it kind of like a third person perspective of humor? Or is it coming from Cole? And if so, is it like of the dry nature? What's
there is
the
a little,
detail here?
yeah, there's a little bit of dry in it, and it's some of it is the interplay between Cull and Brawl, just their back chat to each other about the other characters in the book. Like I say, it's not a laugh a minute. It's just some quite well placed humor. I think Randy's done a great job and has stayed true to the characters. But yeah, certainly we don't hold back on the toxic masculinity. It's that's what's in the book. That's what the characters are about. It's an age of pretty toxic masculinity. So, and we lean into that, and it's fun. So we need more books like that.
I
It's like
agree.
there's
I
not
agree.
that whole sort of expression toxic masculinity is complete tripe.
Well, it is
Tosh.
tribe. When
It's
you
rubbish.
look at the first Aquaman movie, I'm not talking about by how you feel about it, whether you saw it or not. But if you look at the demographic of the majority of people who saw it in 2018, there was a strong portion of it who were, wait for it, women.
Yes.
Women wanted to see Jason Momoa
Yes. Because
kicking
he's
ass and
gorgeous.
taking names. He's a
Yeah.
statue of a man.
Yeah.
Women want to see this type of guy in action, kicking ass, taking names, and imagine themselves being the girl that so and so gets. So yeah, there's a huge supply on demand for this, and it isn't just coming straight from men too. There are women who want it too.
That's yeah. I mean, it's just trying to dictate what people should and shouldn't watch and how they
Of
should and
course.
shouldn't feel about things. It's like there is no toxic masculinity. There are just arseholes. Okay, you're going to get that. They're going to be all over the world. They're everywhere. You're going to find them everywhere. But don't put it down to their sex.
Agreed.
It's there's men and women are built to be together because we're different. That's the way it works.
Hey, it's facts of life. So, all right, chat. I see some people asking him some questions. Brian McCann, Conan, and stuff. So, the Atlantean is a Kull comic, not
It
a
is.
Conan. It's a Kull comic.
It's a cold comic.
This is this is Russ's original Kull story, following him and Zimmerman doing a adaptation of the Shadow Kingdom from Kull. This is their original story on Kull. I posted the link. Yeah, I'll repost it again for you guys in the chat, because I really stress that you give this comic a look. It is in the magazine Savage style format, black and white, raw pencils. This is the link to back in the comic books. Let us know in the chat, should you back it. I want to hear it. This is seriously, I loved his adaptation of the Shadow Kingdom. I read it 3 or 4 times. I was just absolutely immersing myself in it with each reread. And now that we get original stories, which to me is a brave route to go, it's just like awesome. We get to do stuff with Cole that who knows what we haven't seen yet. So I am absolutely, anxious to see what Randy and Russ get to do with this character from there on out. And guys, right here, that's the link in the chat. By all means,
And it's
see,
not
there
only
you go,
Kull.
Brian. Yeah, right. There you go, Conan. Yeah, your brother Cole, right there. Seriously.
By the way,
Kull
Kull is supposed to be an ancestor of Conan. Is
That's
not
right.
directly made by that story is not made by Robert E. Howard, but is canon. So anyway, Kull is an ancestor of Conan. But one of the characters that is on the story that I want to see his adventures more than Kull is Brule, because
Yeah.
Brule is basically what Conan will be. Is more the barbaric kind of character. Kull is more intelligent. He thinks things. He tries to negotiate and to outsmart the enemy. Brule is the muscle. Brule is the one that throws himself into the action. So I want. That's the kind of character that is really enjoyable. The if you are a fan of Dragon Ball, the Vegeta of the bunch, because he has an animosity against Kull. He sees him as kinda a rival, but he's his servant. So it's a really interesting dynamic because both of them are always insulting each other, but they are fighting back to back.
Yeah, they're blood brothers. Yeah, they're brothers of battle, as it were. This they forged their connection in the Shadow Kingdom, and
Yep.
they're taking that forward in these stories where they're searching out the Serpent Kingdom effectively, and that interplay between Kull and Brawl is the source of a lot of the interest in the book.
They begin
and
fighting
the
each
stories
other
we're going forward. Yeah,
because Brooke has animosity to Kull because Kull is an Atlantean. So basically, he's the enemy.
that's right. And that's shown quite clearly in their first meeting in the Shadow Kingdom, where they're very suspicious of each other. By the end of the Shadow Kingdom, they've made a pact, and but you can't get away from the fact that one of them's a Pict and one of them's an Atlantean. So there is this. There's an interesting interplay between the two of them. Yeah.
There's the initial skepticism, and then you combine that with what was going on in the surroundings too. When they were dealing with shapeshifters, I mean, could you? I don't know. I've never looked into it, but could those be? And this is something I've had conversations with Andre from Midnight's Edge about. Were those the original shape-shifting characters throughout, I guess, fictional storytelling? Because the lizard people, like, that's like, holy crud. How do you, I can't blame anyone for not wanting to trust anyone in this situation, especially for Cole and Bro. Like, I don't blame either of them.
I thought you were talking about your government. No, in this is not lizard people, is snake people. And that's the fun. When you get to Conan, there's the concept of lizard people. But before that, in this story, is snake people. And it's a whole cult. So there's basically secret organization of snake men that want to enslave humanity because they have already done it once and they were defeated. So yeah, is It's really cool. They are shapeshifters, but they are not the same lizard people that you will meet later in Conan.
50 pages of beautifully illustrated. Man, that's cool. And that's perfect, dude, because you could get in there, probably spend somewhere around half hour, 40 minutes immersing yourself in the details. Almost feel like you're almost like playing it to like a old black and white barbaric movie. And then you're done, like, oh crud, I need to get to the next story. What's up, the dead man? No,
Lizard
Stephen
people.
M. Trust me when I say, as someone who read, Randy and Russ's Shadow Kingdom, and this is another big deal because the original Shadow Kingdom was a $25 collected edition. This is $15 in the magazine format. That's $10 off. You're talking. That's a huge price shop. Huge. I mean, fantastic, diabolical. Just saying, and I'm gonna be that guy because this is absolutely something that was like, holy crap, that's a big difference. Because I was already ready when the campaign came off this. I already had 25 on me. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And all of a sudden, like I kind of did the double take. Like, hold up, it's 15. Oh, it's in magazine format. Oh man, we went from love to now that we're on a honeymoon now. So now it's like I don't want this. I don't want the honeymoon to end now. this is the route that we're going.
But the idea is that it's about getting. It's when you make comics, it's communication. You tell stories, it's communication. You want people to read your stuff. You want to touch people. Yeah, you want to reach out and for them to find something in your work that is meaningful. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of storytelling. So the lower the price, hopefully, the logic is that more people will jump in because it's not as much of an investment. So let's see where that goes. But like I say, we'd love to get enough that we could take the price down further. Oh yeah,
Well,
backers up 100.
I was gonna say
up
you
one,
got
thank you.
another backer. You got
that's
another
great.
backer.
But from large trees from small acorns grow. So let's see where it goes. But yeah, this. What I am doing is I am having fun drawing the thing. So that's a good thing.
If you're doing a good work, you can have 10 people that will read your first issue, and those 10 people will bring 10 more people each.
Yeah.
And that's the key. If the comic is good, it doesn't matter if at the beginning it's slow in selling, you will get there.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah.
Yeah, for what I'm seeing on the pages, you are getting there.
Thank you. I can actually show you. I'll show you a little bit of artwork if you want.
Sure. Hey, light it up, sir. I'll bring down my screen, and then we'll bring on your screen.
So
so
this is one of the title pages, and they're going through the forest.
That is nice.
In early morning. I don't want to show too much because obviously we don't want to give it too much away.
Brian, the interiors are black and white. Absolutely black and white. Full stop. Carry on, Russ.
But there's some. Like I say, I don't want to give away too much.
That's fine. That's fine.
And
I'm just happy we get to see this right now, dude.
I remember the good era of just getting black and white comics here in Ecuador because it was cheap. Colored ink is pricey. So if you go for original Caliman, is absolutely incredible. The quality of the drawing, and because you don't have color, you have to get extra detail on the drawing. And yeah, it's an art form that is sadly getting lost.
Yes.
But yeah, if you can get something black and white and this style, absolutely worth it.
What's up, Justin? How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you here. I can't wait to have you on soon next month. That's gonna be diabolical. And I see Muhammad said as well. He's reading a lot of Conan. I have issue 46 in Cola Conquer comics, and Marvel art is awesome. Dude, you're hitting on a special time of comic book reading. That is, Muhammad said he's one of our very awesome listeners of this channel. The way he reads books and blazes through them, absorbs the material, and somehow remembers it all, and at the speed that he reads blows my mind, because I read like a snail. I am like, I do, like, seriously, I am at this ultimate snail pace. That way I can absorb the material, because I know for me, I want to be in the story. I want to be the third person. I want to live vicariously in the story. And because of that, I'm at this snail pace. So like, it's like, it's the Ice Age that happens by the time they get stories done. But once I'm there, like, I'm there. It's awesome. But yeah, Muhammad is a blazer with this stuff. Dude, look at the eyes. Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, that's the it's a couple of pages of recap, so you get the eyes in the hills.
Well, there's a bit of mystery if you go for the source material for the Shadow Kingdom. There's a bit of mystery because Brule basically just uncovered the snake men, but they don't really defeat them, and you don't really see much of what Brule saw inside of the fortress. So yeah, at the end, there's a lot of mysteries that are left for the imagination, and yeah, having the opportunity to see what happened next is really cool.
Okay, yeah, well, that's what we want to do. Is I had the concept and insisted Randy wrote it, of just this episodic content like like you used to get, but big enough that people can, you can get a whole story out of 50 pages. You can have a small graphic novel worth of story, but at the same time it's still sort of a larger arc. And just going back to those episodic tales, you just enjoying the ride, as it were. And they didn't define exactly what happened after the Shadow Kingdom. So it's fertile ground for us to work with, especially seeing as they're public domain characters. So we literally just used the Shadow Kingdom as a jumping off point.
Nice.
I love that. So we had our backer here. He confirmed it was Tyrannus Cygnus in our chat, which, by the way, Tyrannus, this drink is to you, sir. Thank you very much. I know Russ appreciates it. I'm sure Randy, wherever he is out there, he appreciates it. So thank you, sir. You're the man. Thank you. And thank you for hanging out with us on Friday night, going over Kull and Robert E. Howard. It's a conversation that's always fun having, and that's something we've been doing a lot more dominantly in the last year or so. And well, the conversations will continue to happen.
There's a real surge because Adventure's coming back. Superheroes, unfortunately, have been battered over the last 10 years. With really shockingly bad storytelling and people shoving their ideology into the stories instead of just trying to entertain people. And because of that, superheroes have suffered, even though we've had 10 years of cinematic dominance as far as superheroes are concerned, and just that hasn't been used to the advantage of comic books in any way, shape or form. And that's because the corporates don't care about comic books, basically. But Adventure is on its way back. I think Westerns will come back in a big way as well.
It's funny you mentioned that, because so obviously, we have a common friend in Razor Fist. Outside of even just him, I was listening to Mark Miller. He talked with Wes from Thinking Critical. Do you know Wes is from Thinking Critical? So a few months ago, Mark was on Wes's channel. They did a one-on-one, and it seems that Mark agrees with that sentiment. He agrees that a lot of these pulp characters, he feels that the way forward is going back. And I was just like, whoa, big time Mark here, Netflix executive, feels the same way as we do, like that this is the path forward. I'm just like, holy crap. Like, maybe there is something in the water, like with about, and especially when you look at especially with Conan the Barbarian having the interest that it has a full year in and still now maintaining interest 16 issues in. Savage
Again,
Sword
it's
of Conan.
exactly what you were saying. It's quality. It's because they're
Yeah.
producing. I have heard and seen a few grumbles from the Howard purists
Of
about
course.
Savage Sword, or sorry, about the Conan, current Conan crop.
Yeah, they are mixing a bit of Conan
Yeah,
with Kroll doing time
yeah,
merging basically. And if you read Howard, he's quite specific on some things
yeah.
that don't let you really time travel.
Mm,
And that's, I will say that's the main gripe, but they are managing it well. There are some
yeah,
issues that I didn't care because they were time traveling, but now that they are back into original Robert E. Howard,
Uh-huh.
they killed it. But I
yeah.
wanted to say something about this of superheroes kind of disappearing and adventure coming back. You need to understand the psychology behind it. Humans have this tendency to look for hopeful heroes, for
Mm,
something that gives them not only an aspiration, but something to hang to, something that keeps them going. And the concept of a hero, of somebody that can save them, or them becoming the hero and then being the one that saves people, it's the main source of inspiration for storytelling, historically speaking.
yeah, the
We
hero's
all, yeah,
journey. Yeah.
be it a hero, be it a descendant of the gods, be it whatever, right? We need that. And when superheroes that were the main archetype for heroes that we had currently starts to diminish, people will just navigate to anything else that is heroic because they
Mm.
need that. Their brains need that.
Yep, absolutely. It's the same with it's the same with celebrity culture. It's like because it's become ever present in social media, and you know exactly what they're doing. You know what when they're taking a dump or what they're having for their breakfast. They're not magical anymore. That
Yeah.
nobody cares. Nobody gives a stuff about celebrities. When I was a kid, um, like Dirty Harry and Clint Eastwood, who basically just played himself.
Oh
Okay,
God, yeah.
all
But we
right.
were entertaining being
Yeah,
himself.
he was just Clint Eastwood. He was always Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood was the same to me as Spider-Man. Okay, they were these characters. They were these amazing people, and they were over there. I didn't know who they were. They were just these things on a screen or in a comic book or whatever.
Mhm.
They were magical. But when everybody knows everything about what they do and then they insist on telling you their opinions, okay, then it's like, oh, this isn't magical anymore, and I'm not interested.
The best,
And they've done that to superheroes. They've
That
done the
used
same thing to
yeah,
superheroes.
now,
the
It's not
best
granted,
way
interesting anymore.
to kill a god is to humanize him,
Exactly.
because then you see the flaws.
Yeah.
obviously, I guess you could say probably the 50s and below. I wish I know it was a long time ago, but it used to be kind of like a thing that was you made it a point to almost have like a mental wall between the regular people and the celebs. And then starting in the 60s, they slowly were like kind of breaking it down. And then the 2010s, they really, really ramped it up. In the 2010s, that's when they really ramped it
Mm.
up. And now it's just everywhere. And I mean, granted, I would say the initial idea of it is off putting, but I feel like what made it more off putting was how it was super slanted one way. And I don't care where people are. Like, there are people on my chat who are on the right. There are people who in my chat who are even on
Yeah.
the, I guess you could say, moderately left.
Don't
And
care.
they both
Yeah.
have their place here. As long as you want to be here because you love this show for what is, and you want to have the same quality entertainment that we want to have, bro, we're friends. We'll have
Yeah.
drinks together. We'll hang out. We'll party. We'll rage. You'll see me black out. You can root for me to black out. I'll be fine to do that for you. You're welcome here. That's fine. I don't care because we have that. That's fine. And even there's even people who are on the, I guess you could say, left of center who don't like how crazy this has gone too, which goes to show you, hey, look, they're seeing people on that side too who don't like this direction either. They want to be entertained too, and that's something that they have forgotten too, that even their own crowd don't want that as well. Like, they want entertainment too. They want to see Conan or Kull beating the crap out of bad guys too. Like, they've forgotten that. It's not just people on the right that hate it. There's people in the center and the left that hate it too.
No. I would. Yeah, I mean, I'm my personal politics, I would say, is probably left to center.
Okay.
I would say probably, but you know, if you look at it in through an American lens, I would suggest. But I just no, it's all left me. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's ridiculous. What are people turned into?
I know.
You know, just entertain people. Leave your own personal opinions to yourself. Leave your politics for the ballot box, and just get on and be a human being. Okay, that's what's important. And communication, storytelling, and as you were saying, like the superhero aspect, the hero's journey, you know, all those things. Not seeing, you know, not humanizing God, but having these people to look up to, these figures, these, whether they're stories or people or whatever, that it's important. And that it's all being, you know, chipped away. And that's not good. And the only way to defeat it, there's no point whinging about it and griping. Okay, we're whinging and griping now, but we're having a discussion about it. There's no point in getting upset. What you got to do is just make good stuff. So what you're doing is you're creating this show, and people are coming to it, and they're discussing, and they're finding things that they like together. And all I'm trying to do is just make the things that I loved as a kid. And hopefully other people will enjoy that. And that's all you can do. Just keep the culture alive by creating, by being present. That's all you can do.
Oh yeah, and that's something. That's why the show became the way it did, because obviously, I'm obviously affiliated with a lot of people who tackle that subject in our sphere, and that was kind of like my thing. Was I talk about this everywhere I go. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's not that I feel like it should not be talked about. It's more of like, I feel like there needs to be balance in the force. And so it's just like, you know what? Why don't I go on? Because like you and I also have a mutual friend, Comics Division. You helped make his logo. Good friend of mine. We have each other's phone numbers. We talk personally every week. We're on a weekly show together every week as well. 3 years now, which is great. And comics, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll do my Thursday stuff on his channel, talking those things. And then on my channel, I get to talk about these other awesome things that are there to balance the conversation out. Because I feel like all things are best handled in moderation.
Yeah.
That way you don't burn yourself out and go crazy when you're only talking about, let's just say, for a broad brushing here, but the culture war. When you get into that subject, you're a little bit more open to it, because you're not talking about every single show 5 hours a day, all 7 days a week. When I go into it for Comics Division, I guess you could say I'm excited. I'm ready for it, because then I could come on my Tonight Show here, and we could talk about badass stuff here. It's great, and I feel leveled out. I don't feel I'm perfectly balanced. I'm perfectly balanced mentally.
I think it's good, because you there's always going to be things that you look at and go, good God, what are those people thinking? There's no doubt that there's a third to a half of the population that are in some way on a hook, and they don't realize it. Critical thought is incredibly important, but at the same time, you have to be compassionate as well. And people have their own thoughts, they have their own lives, they have their own ideas, and that's what's important, is that you can just say, I agree to disagree with you. And that's something that's been lost over the last, bizarrely, it's so quick. It's like 5 to 10 years, and we seem to have lost that.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing, because we do need to communicate with each other, even if we don't agree.
Yeah, just have the conversation, go for it. Because the more you don't, the more you don't have a conversation, by the time you inevitably come into someone who has different thoughts to you, it's going to come as that much more of a shock. It's going to be that much more off-putting because you're so used to just hearing what you want and hearing what affirms your position. And that could go either way. So the more you surround yourself in that, when you get to that point where you encounter the counter argument of anything, it don't matter what it is, it's going to like throw you off balance that much harder because you're so used to being consumed by only things that affirm your point of view. And that's not good and I've seen how people react to that. And it's just like, if you wouldn't be reacting that way, if you had these discussions more often, it doesn't mean you have to like it. We're just saying to just hear people out, then they should hear you out too. And hopefully after that, you could shake hands, have a drink later about it, and maybe find the thing that does bring you together. All right, Pablo, go and keep it going.
What I have noticed, and this is something that I personally have experienced, is that you have a level of tolerance to this kind of conversations of just politics, of just this and that, and then you just check out.
Yeah.
But the fun thing is that there's so much content that you can check out and just enjoy life. For example, I'm watching Dragon Ball. Once Dragon Ball is over, I will watch Naruto. Once Naruto is over, I will go for the most popular animes just to watch every single episode. And for Dragon Ball, I had some episodes that I never watched because they were on TV and I was doing homework and everything. And I want to go back to that enjoyment. And it's because, well, I'm editing the videos for Mina Sech. I have to see everything that's going on with this bullshit in Hollywood and everything. And I get saturated.
Yeah.
When I
It's
get in a
depressing.
conversation with somebody else, they are also check out. It's not their job, but they see it on social media every day. So they are just check out. And we are having conversations about the good stuff, the old stuff. And yeah, that brings us a moment of relaxation, of peace, and then you go back to reality where everything sucks. And what can you do, right?
That's that. Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of what's the expression? Living with uncertainty is the only way to peace, because you have to understand that you can't control the world. And you can't control the government. It doesn't matter how many times you vote one way or the other. You can't control certain things that are above you. But what you can control is, to quote Jordan Peterson, is you can clear your own room up.
Yeah, exactly.
You can, and people get this wrong. And I'm not sort of advocating for Jordan Peterson. I'm just giving that as an expression. Get your own house in order. And think about the people that are close to you and the community that's close to you, and give back to that when you can. And that way you can find peace, because you can't control everything, and there's no way that the world can be exactly the way you want it to be. And so exactly as you're saying, you find peace in those moments where you can console yourself in the things that you do love. So, for instance, I buy back issues of comics. I buy stuff that I haven't read, and I go and read them. I rarely watch anything new on the TV. Most of it, just every time I see a trailer for something, I just sigh and walk out of the room. So, you've got to find the things that you love and look after the people around you, and that's the way to console yourself. That's the way to kind of get your house in order, get yourself right, and see the world.
I miss the old times. If you remember, before the internet, before all the shit, we used to have to curate what we were watching on TV. So we have exactly the time to watch this show from this time, and this time is running, and then you change the channel to this. And parents had to watch the shows that kids were watching, because parents are the ones that need to curate that content. Parents are the ones to greenlight, or And that gave us a good way to basically have a more diverse amount of content because, well, it was an offer. You didn't have to watch it. It was not the only thing. So you can have these deeply Christian animes in one channel, and you have Power Rangers on the other,
Yeah.
and you choose which one. Right now, because of the way that everything is being produced, at least in mainstream, you don't get to choose because everything is going in exactly the same direction. And that's the bad part. I'm not against, for example, of having lefty content because there has been good lefty content historically. They Live is a lefty movie. It's great.
Oh yeah, They Live is freaking excellent, and that is a.
But you see, that was
man.
back when the left were all about free speech.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was back when the
Oh, yeah.
left were
I
all
miss that
about.
era.
They were
And
against the
I'm
hierarchy. Do
I'm
you know what I
glad you
mean? They were
mentioned
like,
John Carpenter because he's
Yeah.
a guy who frequently guess who he frequently worked with in his time? Kurt Russell. And Kurt
Yeah.
Russell couldn't be any more to the opposite right of him, and they worked together frequently. And even outside of that, they spoke still very fondly of each other. And they were both, it wasn't like they were not aware of each other's points of views. They were both very well, but they loved working together. I think they did a commentary together for The Thing. And you
Oh,
hear
cool.
them cracking jokes and laughing and having a good time together. And now I'm like, see, that is what's up right there.
Well, I want to know at what point in time did I enter my my 50s and I became punk rock? What's
Right.
that
So
about?
dangerous, Russ.
I
You're
used
already
to
a
be
toxic man enough.
Anti-establishment is now right wing in some way. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
I used to be left wing. I used to be cataloged as a lefty.
Yeah.
And right now I am basically a far right extremist. The thing is, I haven't changed my thought. I haven't changed my politics.
No, me
They
neither.
just
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, they obliterated the concept, so it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter anymore. You are either pro freedom or against freedom. That's the current situation.
That's the bottom line, I think. Yeah, it is concerning how so many people are affected by the mind virus. Yeah,
It's crazy. But guys, we're an hour into the show. We had
it's
20
Conan time, isn't it?
and then we're gonna come back into Kull again. But we had 20 people in the chat. I want to thank you all for being here. Once again, a bonus shout out to Jennifer Grover for the Canadian super chat. And of course, thank you to Tyrannus Cygnus for backing the Atlantean issue #1. Thank you as well to you guys for being here. Thank you. This one goes out to you guys tonight. Cheers.
Salud.
So,
Today I got.
let's get into it. Let's get into this Conan because this is a big one. Because this is about.
Yeah.
Now, Russ, did you read the newest issue? You know what's going on with the current Conan, right? With the
I've been keeping myself up to date with the stories. I have not read them.
Okay.
But I get a feed on Rob Latore as far as the art is concerned. And is it Braithwaite?
Doug Braithwaite.
Doug Braithwaite. So I follow both those guys. I'm looking at the artwork, seeing what they're doing. Obviously, it's very inspirational. It's great work. I know they're doing the Frost Giant's daughter at the moment.
Yes.
So I'm aware. I'm waiting for. I'm one of those people. I'm waiting for the trade paperback. So,
Okay.
but I am aware of what's going on, and I follow what's going on quite closely. Yeah.
What's interesting about this story, and we'll try to be as very respectful of not going full on spoilers, but the Frost Giant's daughter in this particular adaptation, it tells it a bit from a different perspective,
right?
Rather than the typical Conan story perspective. It tells it from a different, I'll just say different. And you're like, okay, this is going very interesting. And then you feel like you've read the story and you're like, okay, basically it's basically the story, but from a different perspective. But then there's a curveball with a faith-based thing. And you're like, oh, this is getting into a complex conversation. And it's definitely a very challenging conversation, especially something in Conan lore. And I won't get into details, but Pablo, I'm sure you saw that we'll just say the conversation. We don't need context because we want to be considerate for our
Yeah.
buddy
Oh,
Russ here. And you're like, whoa, this is happening. And by the time you get to the arc, I'm like, oh, okay. I see why they went with that subtitle and why they went with this story in the first place, because it really gave meaning to this entire story that Jim Zub is doing.
yeah. Okay, how can I say this without spoiling too much? There's that subplot of Conan's doubt about Chrome, right? And that's something that I had to face, obviously not with Chrome, but I had to face some doubts about religion when I was young. And part of what I finally understood, I'm not religious, but I understood, is that religions give you some kind of consolation for reality. It
Yes.
gives you a way to accept reality without taking everything in. Because if you are an atheist like me, if somebody dies, they are dead. There's no another world, so you will miss them forever. You will disappear. Everything you are will disappear, and that's a bit
It's a harsh
sad.
reality.
Yeah, it's really sad. But when you think about a paradise and you think about a next world and everything, it gives you that sensation of, even if everything goes to hell right now, I will be fine. And also gives you a reason to keep doing whatever you are doing. And Conan has that moment of doubt. And the explanation that he gets is absolutely on the spot. Is, well, it just give me something to strive for, and that's everything I needed. And it gets me to the core because it's exactly that. Some people really need that, and know that Conan has that taste of magic of the other world. All his doubts become not a reason to get away from everything, but a reason to strengthen his resolve, because he has been doing this without those gods up to this point. Know that he knows they are real. The fight is more meaningful, but it just keeps going, and that's it.
That's cool.
What's great, really awesome about the story and the way it ended, because it basically told the arc, and then it goes on to like almost like an overtime. It goes into overtime, like an equivalent of an overtime, and with that overtime, you get this whole other deepness to the story, and you're like, oh, okay, we're challenging some thoughts here, and all of a sudden you come out of it, whoa, this story was not just about trying to have another badass arc about the blood and the guts and the gore, but something on a more deeper philosophical level. And I'm like, damn, okay.
Right?
And it shows you Zub can nail it both ways with Conan. He can give you that deeper personal arc that gives you something to think about, but still keep it open to interpretation and not be on the nose about it. But also at the same time, he can also be that guy who gives you the bloody, barbaric, mayhemic tale. And that's, once again, we said it before many times on this channel. I'm sure you thought of it as well at 1.2, Russ. It's a lost art, and Zub nailed it with that part. And that's
Jim
what I really
Zub
love
has,
about him.
Yeah, he has reinvented himself with Conan. My personal view. I wasn't sure, but from everything everyone's told me, from what I've kept up with, he really is doing a good job, and it's wonderful to see that somebody understands and is getting it. And like I say, there have been a few grumbles here and there, but I think in general he's doing a really good job.
You can
It's
tell he
important-
loves doing the story.
Yeah,
I
he
think
loves
that's a
it,
major one. He
It's
really loves it.
It's really important to do what you said, and that's to leave the reader to make up their own mind. It's incredibly important in a
Yeah.
book.
If you analyze Howard deeply, he's quite esoterical and quite philosophical without actually giving you the explanation of everything. He just keeps going, gives you action, but in the action you get everything that happens around that is mysticism, and that mysticism has a bit of explanation for what's happening without hitting you in the head with it.
Mhm.
So that extrapolated to a comic is something like that Marvel didn't get right. I know there's a lot of people that like the Marvel era of Conan is great, but it's not deep. Then you get to the Dark Horse era of Conan, and it's a bit deeper, but they are still avoiding some things, and here they are getting full on.
Yeah.
So they are deviating from Robert E. Howard in a way, but they are being truthful to Robert E. Howard in another way. And yes,
Mhm.
it's exactly like all the Star Trek. All the Star Trek used to do exactly that. They were deep enough so you will, for example, Who Mourns for Adonais? The speech that Kirk has, that we are the same no matter what, and everything that we do is for humanity, even if we go against humanity, because we are humans and that's it. That
Mhm.
speech is absolute perfection if you are trying to explain humanism to somebody. But
Mhm.
at the same time, they are just facing the reality that a god that we used to believe as humanity, it was just an alien that didn't care about us. And that's extraordinarily deep for a time where people didn't want to hear anything against God.
Mhm.
They don't
Yeah.
bash you in the head with that, though. It's just an
Nope.
action-filled episode that is great.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's you look at old Star Trek. I mean, probably
And
Star
that's what
Trek
the dead
up
man brought
until
in. I like he
yeah,
mentioned that.
Star Trek up until what end of Enterprise.
Mhm.
Everything up until that point, people are starting to appreciate how good Enterprise was compared to what we've got now. Um, Everything up to that point had that essence to it. It was great storytelling. It was fun. It was action, but at the same time, you could look as far as you wanted to look into it. You got what
Mhm.
you wanted out of it, and that's what really good storytelling is about.
Mhm.
And it seems to be what Jim Zub is doing at the moment with Conan.
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you mentioned because one of our former panelists had to, really, emphasize on the point. Former panelist, his name is Clobby, aka Clobbering Times. He was a weekly here. Unfortunately, he passed on a few months ago,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry to hear
he
that.
was a major Trekkie. Like, man, you want to talk about a guy who could sing about comics, Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC,
Cool.
Robert E. Howard. Pablo, the whole chat can back us on this.
Douglas
Pablo can back.
Adams.
Clobby, D-Bud, who's in our chat, who's been reading comics longer than Clobby did. Where Clobby ran circles around all of us. It was
Yeah.
nuts. It was absolutely nuts what Clobby knew about. But his love, I remember he would always emphasize how great old Trek was, and he always said like even if he didn't like something from old there's a let's just say a particular episode from a certain series, he
Mhm.
said it was at least still Star Trek from
Yeah.
66 through 05. There you
Yeah.
go. There's D, but Clobby knew it all. Yeah, dude, right? Yeah, Clobby, he really did. Yeah, dude, yeah, Clobby, he really was the man. And oh, dude, his knowledge was insane. And yeah, he had a comedic way of bringing his point home, but he also had a fun way of welcoming opposition to his conversation, even though he knew what he knew, which he didn't have to do. It was wild. Clobby was a one in a million, and before he had passed on, one of the few newer comics that he was appreciating was the current Conan,
Right.
which it's like, wow, okay, that would make sense when you
Yeah.
put it into perspective
And
logic.
when someone like that sort of says something good about a project or a book, you sit up and take notice
Yeah.
because you appreciate and respect their opinions
Yeah.
because they obviously know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, we have 104
Oh,
backers. Oh,
fantastic! Thank you. Is that
oh,
Brian?
I think that was
Brian, did you
Brian.
get through? something I've noticed is that occasionally people can't get Stripe is just that's the payment processor behind it all. Sometimes it just doesn't like your card. I mean, I've had a couple of people on the back end where I've actually emailed them direct and said, look, if for some reason Stripe isn't liking whatever card you're using or your details, just get in contact with me directly afterwards, and we'll sort something out. Because I just want to make sure people get books. So, yeah, it's the man playing with us.
The man is playing, but hey, Brian, this one's you, buddy.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Is this not safe for work? We were late at night, yeah.
Oh, dude, you could.
Yeah, like it's the man fucking with you. It's like he just you don't know, you know, like, oh, I've got my card, I'm gonna put it in. No, Stripe says fucking no, and it's like, oh, get stuffed. There you go.
No, damn the man, straight up.
But yeah, you can always and that's something that I've been very keen on, is that I'm available. Obviously not personally, you know, I like you and you're a good looking guy, but I'm not into that. But but I'm available. Just like, you know, people want to contact me through social media, through my email address, whatever it might be. I'm always willing to chat. The people talking to me about my projects and appreciating them is just one of the most fulfilling things you can get, you know, because it's that feedback that you get from people. So if you want anything, just no backdoor deals. I just said he's not my type. All right, pack it in.
Listen, we already get really homoerotically enough on Toxic Tuesday. There's a reason there's a distinction between Toxic Tuesday and Clobby's Comic Shop. This show is more of like a AM radio show, whereas Toxic Tuesday, which is my Tuesday night show where we talk about like a classic action movie or sometimes a comedy where it's super anti-PC. We get so obnoxious and homoerotic and stupid and retarded. It's where all the verbals come out. It's almost like a race to get demonetized on Tuesday night. That's what it's like a competition of how quick can this show on Tuesday night can get demonetized. If we don't do it, we have done like a horrible service to our audience. Yeah, at that point, that it's like our job. Like
men don't spend enough time in locker rooms anymore. That's what I say. I get to be in a locker room 3 times a week because I go training 3 times a week, and it's the best time.
Is it the best time, or is that a better time? Let's double down even further. Let's go some showdown in Little Tokyo.
You have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Brandon Lee and Dolph Lundgren. Oh man. Oh, hold on. Let's take it 2 miles further.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
That's a sweaty bicep. You son of a bitch.
There's a scene on an anime called Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood where 2 guys that are full machos are about to fight each other, and they start talking with their muscles, so they are just flexing muscles and then become best friends. It's just flexing. Okay, you are the guy.
Yeah, I love a bit of testosterone in the morning.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna take it 1 extra mile here, just because we gotta pay tribute to the late great Carl Weathers.
Barbecue, huh? How do you like your ribs?
Good old Action
Oh,
Jackson. Rest in
yes.
peace, Carl Weathers.
Carl.
What dude? Underrated legend, in my opinion.
Great.
Very underrated. I mean, he was a big part of Predator, obviously. Obviously, he was Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. It showed you, even though Action Jackson was lesser known, it showed you he was leading man material.
Oh, without doubt.
Oh my god, he should have had so much more. Like Carl Weathers, seriously, he was one of the greats. Even though he didn't get the credit that was absolutely deserved for him, he was absolutely, he had it all. He had the look, he had the badass name, he had the cool dialogue, the action. Like he really was like the total package. Carl Weathers was like he was straight up as long as you don't take your time. I love it.
Yeah, just that one step further.
That scene between Arnold and Carl Weathers when they do that, I don't know if I want to call it like a hand clap or handshake. Every time I see that scene, I always had to like open my window here to make sure that there wasn't an earthquake. I'm like, like the earth didn't break a little over that scene because the earth shook a little. I'm like, is everything okay outside? Okay, the earth is still in one piece. Okay, we don't need to worry. It's seriously, it's that's how impactful that scene was when you saw it. Like, holy crap!
It's just just those movies back then. They just they're just so they speak to something very basic in you, and just entertain you so purely. You're not expecting anything from it, and you get everything. It's just great film. So Predator is just such a simple movie, and yet it's so rewatchable. It's just, it shouldn't be that rewatchable.
Hey man, you're bleeding. I ain't got time to bleed.
You're stuck up there like Alabama tit.
Oh, I know that era, like that should be like, should college become of, let's just say, relevance again, cultural relevance again? That needs to be like studied on that particular era. Like, why did people get so enthused by such simple movies? Well, look at the dialogue, look at the chemistry. The ideas were simple. Yes, absolutely. No one's debating that these were things that were like deeply sophisticated. We know that. It's not lost on us. We're very self-aware. But it was the fun and then the enthusiasm. It was so perfect because you'd see these dudes bond and have fun with their crazy dialogue. Absolutely. And it wasn't like they didn't know. There's no way you wing a line like, let off some steam, Bennett. That just happens. It just happens. You gotta understand. These are just, they happen. No one writes that on script like, yeah, you should say that. That's perfect. No, that just happens. That just happens.
Nobody thought that film was Shakespeare. Okay, they knew exactly what it was. It is very self-aware. Very self-aware.
They used to make the movies exactly to be self-aware, exactly to be over the top, because it was fun.
Yeah,
it was nothing else. If you see RoboCop, if you see Lethal Weapon, if you see Die Hard, those movies were not exactly brilliant, but they were made in a way that you knew that you were going for romance, explosions, and gore.
And it was explosions.
I saw
explosions.
I saw with an ex-girlfriend one of these movies, Lethal Weapon movie, and at the end she's like, "There's a lot of romance in this movie," and I'm like, "Yeah, between guys too."
Yeah, I was about to say, perfect example is Lethal Weapon. We're talking about the Conan stories. Lethal Weapon has real life issues in it. Like Murtaugh, he's getting old and he wants to retire. I'm too old for this shit. But it touches people Do you know what I mean? It touches people with, and there's family interplay in it. There's friendship. There's bonding, and yet it's just a stupid movie. There's something magical about that, and that's what great storytelling is about. It touches you. It gets to aspects of your life, of your experience that you understand and appreciate and want to share. But at the same time, it's a fun ride, and
Uh,
the entertainment in general seems to have lost a lot of that.
yeah, the good era where Hollywood was trying to touch your heart, not anything else,
Yeah.
not your kids. Sorry, what?
Ah!
But 5 picoseconds says shockingly men like romance too, and there's in Japanese media there's the concept of otoko no roman, the romance of a man. Men like big robots, big explosions, and at the end they get the girl. That's
Mhm.
part of the romance of a man.
Yeah.
We like that part of the threat against the life and the hard work and having to overcome every obstacle, and then we get the girl, right?
Mm.
It's not just we were pretty and got the girl. Is we had to fight for it. We have
Yeah.
to fight truly to the point where we are almost dead, and then we get that reward.
He
And
overcame adversity.
yeah,
to
it's the
get what
same
he
on
wanted.
Conan.
Yeah.
Conan is
hero's
a brute
arc.
that kills a lot of people, but his reward of actually being heroic is getting the girl and then
Yeah.
going to the next town and
Yeah.
rinse and repeat, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Conan's a rogue, but he has a moral code.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes him enticing. He's not just going out there and doing whatever he wants and killing whatever he wants, and then and not caring. There is a certain there's a moral code in there, and if he gives his word, he stands by it. And that means a lot to men. I think in general, it means a lot because that's how you find friends, people you trust. They stand by their word. They say they're going to do something and they do it. And that's really important. And you see that in Howard's work, but you see it in the hero's journey in so many different stories.
All right. So we got Mr. Lilman 007. Great name, by the way. I don't know if you've been here before. If you have, I apologize for not remembering you, but I will just say informatively and officially, welcome to the channel. I hope you're enjoying your stay here. It's a good time here because we're a comic show that actually talks about comics, and we enjoy booze as well while having dude chats. It's a great time here on Friday nights. We do this every Friday night, and it's great. And it's a honor privilege that we had Mr. Russ Leach with us to share the good stuff as well with them, from comics to action movies to whiskey as well. We get the best of all worlds with Russ here. It's great. It's a delight, might I add. Absolute divine delight.
Today, I'm actually really proud about my drink because it's my favorite fruit, and I harvested in my backyard. Because taxo, I don't know if there's a word for taxo in English. There should be. I haven't really investigated about it. It's a fruit that is basically just sour and with some tanginess, and is really, really good, and I love it. But it's not something that you get all the time. So a few years ago, I decided to plant it in my backyard, and today I can go and get it all the time. I can get it any time I want. So I'm really proud about having it mixed with some good alcohol and enjoying it.
Dude, fuck yeah, man, Pablo. I love that. That's some independent living. That's what you're doing.
With the situation in my country, I'm actually I have back problems, so I'm trying to strengthen the muscles of my back to be able to work the land. Because of the situation, there's a bit of a food shortage, and it will get worse. And I need to start producing my own food, so I need to get my bag ready. I need to get the plot of land that I normally use ready, and first microgreens, and in a couple of months I want to be already producing at least radishes, some good greens, some lettuce, some spinach, and everything. And because of the drought, I need to be really smart, because the soil normally releases all the most moisture because of the heat of the sun. But if you plant between trees and the trees give shadow to the plot of land that you are cultivating, if those greens don't need that much light, or are no big things like tomatoes or something like that, but just small things that grow under the ground, the shadow of the trees keep the moistures on the ground. So actually you can grow really, really fast and without using excessive water. That means it's efficient and it's cheap. Yeah.
So Javier Milei would be very proud of you right now.
Yep.
Straight up, Javier Milei, big, because I can't speak Argentinian, but he'd be like,
This will be the second time that I actually have to leave from the land. The first time was on the pandemic, and I have a
Yeah.
full farm. At the end, I had a full farm on my yard, and I was growing vegetables for the house. I was growing medicinal herbs and also some wheat, because why not? So I had the full package there. And at a point, we were eating every single day with things grown by me on my backyard.
Nice.
Fucking awesome.
The government will be after you soon.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
thankfully, here in my country, they still believe on you have freedom over your soil.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Monsanto isn't in charge.
Yeah.
My girlfriend has
tried.
finally hit the red pill stage in like the last year or so. She's like, "So, should we get a house? We gotta start like doing prep." I'm like, "Okay."
Oh,
Let's go.
Blaze,
Let's go. Yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page on this. Let's go.
just to
Let's
answer,
do it.
Blazed, I actually take the best if you are seeding radishes or daikon. You see the best, biggest ones, and you don't harvest them. You let them fully grow, drop the seed, because that genetic is better. You are seeing that the quality of the vegetable on the ground is better. So that's the one you want to let grow and seed. And those seeds actually get ready for the climate. When you buy the seeds normally, the plants grow randomly because they are not accustomed to your soil. But in a few generations, they are beasts. And I have seeds for my radishes that they don't care about any insect, they don't care about shit, they don't care about the level of moisture. They just grow, and it's beautiful.
They are fucking Hulk radishes. They don't give no shits.
Oh yeah, I have a photo, a normal ass spoon, a normal spoon, and one of my radishes on the side. The spoon looks like a teaspoon compared to the radish.
Excellent. That's a good radish.
Okay, so Russ, my dude,
Yeah, look at
you
that.
are now at
105 backers.
105.
Thank you very
backers.
much,
Whoever it was, dude. Oh, you come here to play, come here to bring something genuine, some fun, something authentic, and then people respond.
Thank you.
It's the delight. Whoever that was, seriously, thank you. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. Okay, so touch on some Conan. The Frost Giant's daughter conclusion, Frozen Faith, vaguely without completely spoiling it, because we want to make sure people get their chance of reading it. But guys, what's up, DJ Play Nice? Now, Russ, have you been reading Battle of the Blackstone yet? Are you behind on that one?
No, I haven't. No.
Dude.
No. It is something that's on my list.
All right. I will just say it is actually felt like one of those event comics. I remember a time where event comics felt fun and exciting, and it felt like it mattered. And you're like, whoa, this is cool that characters are coming together. And I know there's obviously, I'm sure there are some Howard Pierce when we talk about time travel and such.
Yeah.
There's a good argument to be had. I won't deny them on that. But do I think the execution of how it's been played out has made it fun and to roll with? Yes.
Yeah, that's the
Especially
important thing. They're trying to make a Howard verse,
yes,
which I'm not necessarily all in with, because I think
that's
it's
fair.
a very, very modern approach, or a very current day approach to what Howard did. However, that said, if they nail the stories, if they do it well, I can be convinced. And that's
Yes.
what's important. Yeah.
That's one half of it for me. The other half is keep it once every, doesn't need to be every few months, maybe once a year or two. I feel like keeping it special is another thing. Keep it where it feels like this needs to happen, like this is a genuine threat. Because if you do it where it's like an annual basis, like a seasonal thing, that is where you start to really hurt things.
Yeah.
If you keep it where it's just like, whoa, okay, because there was over a year of buildup for something like this. It's just like, okay, for me personally, I can roll this because this feels earned. This feels earned. I roll with that. And Jonas, I can't pronounce his name, or I don't even know how it's properly enunciated. Jonas Sharf, his art's good. It's good. And I like the way he brought in Brissa and Elborak, Solomon Kane. I'm like,
I saw the Solomon Kane art. That was
Zerker
yeah.
from the Savage Sword stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that was really nice stuff. Again, like that
Zerker's
guy's a lunatic. That guy's a lunatic online. Like he's a nut.
Oh yeah.
But I really do try very hard to separate art and artist. It's like,
he's
if you want to talk,
fantastic.
you can be a complete arsehole, but if your artwork's great, I want to consume it. And I'll be picking that up at some point because that looked really good.
No,
Great addition.
He's great. I'm gonna dig. I got some Savage Swords on me right now. We'll get all fanboyish here. We'll admire some stuff. Why not? Let's have some fun. By the way, also guys, Russ, dude, you just did it again. 106.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, all right. Let yourself know in the chat, please. Even if you're a lurker, just write a comment this one time. Let us know because we love it. Brian, to answer your question, how many? This is the first issue. This is the first issue of Russ and Randy's Kull story. That is an original telling. Original story. Vulcan lives. Vulcan. I love it. Thank you, Vulcan.
So it's all original physical art.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, we're zooming in on you, buddy.
It's physical. It's a real thing. Okay,
dude.
So it's made with love, made with huge amounts of love. So thank you so much to everyone who backs it.
Huge.
It means a huge amount.
Huge love. The best love. Yeah. I've seen love before, but this is the love that's never loved like any other love before.
Virgin love?
This is what they're going to see.
This has been really good. Okay, I gotta take another drink.
Thank you, 5 picoseconds. You do whatever you need to do. Do you know what? It's tough out there at the moment. It's tough for everybody. Politics aside, it's just tough. So anybody who backs, thank you. And like I said, I don't want to stop myself from getting more money on the first campaign, but you'll be able to pick up the first issue with the second issue. I will be going to crowdfunding in probably March 1st, but we'll see how things are. Maybe somebody might win, might not win. So it might be a better situation to go Feb 1st. But definitely the second issue will be out and the first issue will be available with it.
Oh, trust me. At 5 picoseconds, he's one of our he's one of our loyal listeners on this show. I've met him in person. Trust me, when that man falls through with his backing, he makes up for it bigly. He makes up for it. He's a serious contributor, and he's once again he's looking for the cure, just like the rest of this chat, our wonderful chat here.
Yeah.
He's looking for the cure of all things. He will follow through when he does. When he does, he always makes up for it bigly.
Brian
always.
just said, "Sweet, you know what? Number one, the Atlantean Kull. Tell Kevin Sorbo about this. I would love to put Kevin Sorbo's likeness in this book.
Oh, why am I doing that? Why am I doing this? This is weird.
I would do that in a heartbeat. I think Kevin Sorbo's great.
I agree.
I think he's really great. So
I
yeah,
love
I
it.
would do that in a heartbeat.
Oh,
Whether
that's-
we'd be allowed to do it or not. is
Keep
another
talking.
thing,
You
because-
keep talking.
Because there's a whole bunch of stuff around trademarks and what have you for Kull the Conqueror, so probably wouldn't be able to do it.
Man, that
Look at that.
era of
That's Carrie Nord. Carrie Nord
Hercules.
art from the recent Savage Sword issue where the core story is written by Frank Thierry and the
Nice.
pencils were Carrie Nord. And I love
that.
Carrie Nord on pencils, man. He has a way with Conan. He really does. I
That's
freaking
cool.
love, and once again, I love the magazine format of the stuff. So killer. Oh, dude. Oh, guys, dude.
See, Black and White is back,
Right? It's
Yeah.
straight up.
Mhm.
Straight up.
and that looks vaguely digital.
It could be, but
Yeah.
The transformation looks a bit.
Yeah,
Have you ever played Altered Beast?
Oh
I
yeah,
have not. Go ahead.
that's a
That-
classic.
Yeah, that looks like that transformation.
All right. Stephen M. Kal-El says, question for Russ. Will there be a digital version of the comic at some point?
When we do a compilation, an essential Atlantean, if you will, I would imagine we'll do it digital as well.
All right. There's your answer, Stephen M. Kal-El.
But
Yeah.
the collector's copies, effectively the ones that we put out every 3 months or so, they won't ever be digital in their format. It'll only be when we compile them as a compilation.
Look at that. See, he gave you an authentically honest answer right there.
Look at that. That's cool. I like that. That's nice. And it's big format as well, isn't it? It's
Oh,
magazine
I
size format. Yeah.
love this big format. I do.
Yeah.
It makes me so excited when I get this big magazine. And hey, let's look at it right here. Solomon Kane.
Yeah, look at that.
Our boy
Yeah.
Solomon Kane. Yeah. Oh man, what
Great
a
art.
character. I know, right? No,
I
that's what
love that for the Van Helsing movie. They basically based the Van Helsing version of the character on Solomon Kane, and it's exactly that. The Hugh Jackman basically dressed as Solomon Kane killing vampires.
Mm. But do you know what? I love that film. It's so crap.
Yeah, it's great.
I absolutely love it.
The three lady
Oh, look at
vampires.
that.
Look at that.
Nice.
I know.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
real.
it's a little hug. Yeah. Hug my book.
This love is real. This love is real. Even when it falls down, hits the ground, I pick it back up, and I just love it.
I quite enjoyed that Solomon Kane movie as well.
I did too.
Yeah.
Because even though it's a origin story, not necessarily necessary, but if it looked and felt like a Howard story, which kind of makes for me, it makes up for that.
I
I can redeem it in that aspect.
Yeah, I think you have to see that in films. I see a lot of people complaining about movies. I mean, I am very shallow. Okay, I will like really crap films, um, and that's because they're enjoyable. All right, so I can understand why people get upset about certain content, certain films, the way they're represented from books to film, and all the rest of it. But I think if it has an essence, so for instance, a classic example of that is the Conan movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the original. Okay, that's sort of a compilation of Conan and Kull stories, and it's not pure in any way sense of the word. Okay, but it has the spirit of Conan, and that's what's important about the movie. It has the spirit of Conan in it, and that's why it's enjoyable.
That's why
And so I can be good with that.
yeah, that's why so many people wanted to get in film the Iron Crown, because that version of Conan actually goes more into the cool territory at the end, and you can see him wearing the Iron Crown and actually being a king. With normal Conan, is there's a point where you kind of doubt if he will be a good king, and then you have King Conan that actually solves all that.
Yeah.
But Conan is too harsh, too quick to anger, too fast to just get into the brawl and forget about all his obligations, about what he needs to protect. And the Conan on the movies is quite different, because he's actually thinking, and he understood life basically being a slave. You have that great scene of what's the most important thing in life.
Yeah.
That is more cool than Conan. But when you get him fighting, that's more Conan than cool.
Yeah. No, absolutely nailed it. Yeah, you described it perfectly, and it's the essence. It's the essence of Robert E. Howard's character that came through. Sorry, 5 picoseconds. You are absolutely right. Yes, I do like Wolverine Origins, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Do you know why? Because I really liked it when he jumped out as the scene where he was Weapon X.
Oh, to the helicopter.
Yeah, and I'm just I'm a sucker for crap movies. I'm sorry, but I'm just really shallow.
Don't you
and
apologize, Russ.
I
revisited that movie for the first time since I saw it back in 2009, and I had a newfound appreciation for it. That I don't know if it was the mass opinion that got to me or not, but there's something about it that I just really appreciated watching for it. I'm like, okay, there's some things I don't like Gambit. Okay, sure. But a lot of stuff, and obviously the CG sucks, but the Wolverine stuff I really, really enjoyed.
Huge is great. Right? Okay. Huge is always great. He's great on screen. All right. But it's like I felt it had the
remember.
Yeah. I felt it had the essence of Wolverine in it, much like the Conan story. It had the essence of Wolverine. I enjoyed it, and I think people I enjoyed the Venom movies. People get really bent out of shape about them, and it's like it's just a movie.
Venom 1 is great. Venom 2, I have only one gripe. Neither Cletus Cassidy or Carnage laugh in the movie, and that sucks, because the way that Carnage used to work is that they took the adaptation from the animated series and turned it into canon. So it's more vicious, laugh more, has a lot more of that psychopathic tendency that is missed on the movie. But the gay bar scene, I fucking love it.
It's great.
It's awesome. Movies that I love that are in that vein. The Resident Evil, the first movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. That's right,
Alone in the Dark. It's a shitty movie. It was my introduction to Nightwish.
Yeah.
Because they have I Wish I Had an Angel on the movie, and they did a full video of I Wish I Had an Angel for the movie. So it was it's a terrible movie. It was great. There's some
Yeah,
of those movies that are,
so people get bent out of shape about films, and it's like you shouldn't. It's like the MCU and Nolan's Batman. They were not comic representations. You can't expect comic representations in movies. As long as they get the essence right, that's what's important. Nolan's Batman got the essence of Batman. Okay, effectively, it was Batman as 007 for all intents and purposes, all
yeah.
it was. But it
A little bit more
got the
grounded,
essence. Yeah.
especially after the Bourne movies were a hot thing.
Yes, it got
Yep.
the essence and it worked. Okay, and that's what. And the MCU movies, they all had real issues. If you're a comic book lover, okay, from the Bronze Age, they're like me, an old geezer. Okay, they had a lot of issues. All of the MCU movies. But they had the essence, which meant they were fun and enjoyable, and you looked past those details. You looked past them, and that's why the modern Marvel movies, the last 5-6 years, have been so crap because they haven't.
I
Had the
love
essence.
the first Captain America, and that was a
Yeah.
very
I was
cool
going
game.
there. I was going
Love
there.
that. I actually love that. I feel like it was very Cap faithful, but yet it was still an excellent film. Joe Johnson, obviously,
The thing
he
is,
bled his Rocketeer influence under there,
Mm.
and I love the first Captain
Sorry,
America.
Brian nailed it. You're right. Deadpool.
I
was
agree
crap.
on that. I agree on that, and I'm not even a Deadpool. Like, I wouldn't say I'm not like a Deadpool fanatic, but I still respect that they should still get his character right for those who love the character. I agree on that, but as a movie as a whole, I do appreciate it a lot more in retrospect. Not Deadpool individually, but the movie as a whole, I appreciate a lot more individually. Yeah, Deadpool still nothing changes there, but the Wolverine story and his arc and the fact that he had like his love life like finally starting to come into fruition, the Weapon X stuff, and then his rivalry Sabretooth. I love a lot of this stuff. And the movie was, dude, the movie, like, it's a fast movie. It's not all about going through my feelings. It's really not. It gets to the point. It really does get to the point.
And his love
think
interest
people
was
should give
gorgeous.
it a second shot, at least to understand from that. You can knock on the Deadpool or the Gambit stuff, fine. Won't dispute there. But look at for the Wolverine story. There's a lot that they do get right aside from the bad CGI. I do have a renewed appreciation for that movie many years later. There's that for the first Captain America love. Hey, that's fair too.
Yeah,
Love
Winter
it.
Soldier is
there's some-
great. Great film. Yeah,
there's
really
something
enjoyed that.
about First Avenger. They basically conflate and mix up a lot of things. You have the Holding Commandos without Nick Fury. You don't get the Human Torch, the original Human Torch. You don't get Namor. And those were key parts of Captain America on the original run of Captain America before being Marvel Comics, when it was Jack Kirby and Joe Simon, right? I'm talking about good old Captain America, original Captain America. And there's a lot of things that are missing in that. And some part of the way that Captain America becomes Captain America didn't feel quite right. But at the end, the sacrifice and the way that they pull the sacrifice actually makes you feel like it was just a way to bring Steve Rogers into being Captain America. You don't get really all Captain America. At the movie, you get like 20 minutes at best of Captain America. Everything else is just Steve Rogers. But I like that approach. I'm still missing the Human Torch. I'm still missing Namor. I'm still missing the Howling Commandos, how they should be. And Howling Commandos should not be on that movie, by the way. Let's be honest. It should not be the Howling Commandos. But still, I enjoy it so much.
That's right. It's like you can't have everything. They've got to interpret it. You got to remember these films aren't just for fans. They are for a wider audience, and they have to interpret those things. And that's why you get those different options, as it were, of MCU heroes or of Batman or whatever. I still love the Michael Keaton Batman. I still love the way that Tim Burton put that together, and that's completely different to the Nolan Batman, and yet you can quite happily watch both and enjoy both. and I don't see a problem with that with the films. It's like Lord of the Rings. What a fantastic way of, I mean, the interpretation of that. And I've read the book 3 times. I read it as a young man and later on. And I would never have read Lord of the Rings if I hadn't have read comic books. It's a gateway drug. It's so important to get comics into kids' hands. But aside from that, seeing the interpretation of those books, you can't put everything into the films. It's just not possible. And you can't please everybody. So what you've got to do is you've got to get the essence of the characters and of the stories. And I think the first 10 years of Marvel did that. Lord of the Rings did that. Nolan's Batman did that. Keaton's Batman did that from a completely different perspective. So those are the important things. And you know,
yeah, Brian name dropped Morbius, and for me, Morbius is a great movie.
I watched it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's the perfect 90s to 2000 superhero movie, right? It's exactly what you will expect.
Yeah.
No real explanation for anything, just a bunch of action and nonsensical things with the powers because it's cool. And that's everything I needed for Morbius. I was not looking for an actual Morbius movie because that will not be a Morbius movie. That will be an Spider-Man movie.
Exactly.
With Morbius.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But
now, Brian said, where was it here?
I just want to say thank you to Brian for that message to Kevin. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Thank you. Whether he returns or not, thank you for taking the time.
Nice. Now that Captain America movie, it was a juggling act and a half. I feel like that movie did so much right. And they got the origin story. They introduced Red Skull, and they got Steve Rogers' character right.
The Red Skull. How can you get the Red Skull right? But they managed to do a pretty good. I think they did a pretty good
Hugo
version.
Weaving made with the material that he had. Like, well, he was there. Sure, they could have done more, but with what they had, it worked for what they had.
It's almost impossible to do Red Skull right because the character is too over the top and too violent to actually do it on screen on a movie that is targeted to PG-13 public. If you are going for a better demographic, let's say an R movie, you can actually do Red Skull like Red Skull should be.
But you're right. He is an over-the-top character, and quite a nasty piece of work. Yes.
Now I agree. In Blazin, never apologize for stuff you should do. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that comment because a guy I know, he's a drummer. He's in a band that I like, and he did this thing on Twix this morning. He posted a photo of Commando and Con Air. And I think it was something along the lines of which one he enjoyed more, and he preferred Con Air. And I said to him, you know what? I kind of disagree, but
put the bunny down.
I kind of respect that he kept it real about that. I have to respect that he just said out and out, I like this one, and I see that as a lover of both movies. I'm going to give Commando the edge on my personal take, but the fact that he just said Con Air, I'm like, I got to respect that, man, because it would probably be more trendy and popular to say Commando, but you went for Con Air, and that's not a diss on either movie because both are fantastic on their own merits. So I just felt like he deserved acknowledgement and respect for that because
The Rock is
that's
great.
bold. Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
The Rock is a great film.
Oh.
I really don't like culture Nazis. Okay, people who tell you what you should and shouldn't like. Okay,
God, no.
and I don't care for them from any direction. Okay, people just enjoy the entertainment that's out there. And like I say, I'm hugely shallow. I like a really crap film. Okay, and you should be able to walk away from a film and go, I enjoy that. If somebody else doesn't enjoy it, fine, that's their personal opinion. But don't tell other people that they shouldn't enjoy something.
That's the basis for the anime market. If you see the anime and the manga market in Japan, because it's an isolated market, but it's so big, it's so dense. The population is so huge in numbers that you can have niche mangas that actually do really well that you
Yeah.
will never see outside of Japan.
Yeah.
And that works perfectly because everybody can have something that they like, and you are not obligated to like the mainstream shit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's good, and that's just an open, um, appreciative of other people's opinions. You know, like it's that sort of you do what you like. You know, do the thing that you want.
Exactly.
And yeah, and it's like that with the comics as well, with manga. You know, there's lots of really niche stuff, and it does really well. And the artists and the creators just keep pumping it out because they know that there's an audience for it.
I remember one manga that I actually thought it was going mainstream until it didn't. That is called Air Gear. It's about guys that fight using roller skates in a world where a secret society that controls the world tried to do superhumans that fight in roller skates. There's another one that is called Harem at the End of the World, that is about a guy that wakes up after being cryogenically asleep for 5 years, and a society of feminists created a virus that killed every man on the world. So now he has to repopulate the earth.
Oh, he's a
And
productive man.
yeah,
It's a
the
very
funny part is
productive
this.
man.
The virus killed almost all the engineers, almost all the mathematicians, almost everybody with a brain, because women are not into STEAMs mostly. So society is falling apart, and they need men because they need somebody to become an engineer. It's great.
Okay, all amazing.
Oh my god, I can't do this.
Humor aside, which I'm on board with all this. Stephen Evan has some great comments here. Once again, stuff that Clobby would appreciate. I couldn't agree with him, Blazing more. One of the best things about Clobby that I streamed is that he respected all opinions as long as you respected it. And yeah, and he was an absolute purist about where his point of view came from. He had no shame. He had his conviction, and I like that, and I respect that about him because he knew what made these characters what they were. And there's a lot. Him and I agreed on most things. We'll just say most things, and I understood where he came from. Now, there's one thing I feel like that strayed from too far to a point where they didn't even get the essence characters right was Eternals. Eternals, they barely. Keywords barely look like the characters. Emphasis on barely. They definitely did not act like the characters.
You know what I said about
for sure didn't have the world look like the characters.
You know what I said about being shallow and liking crap films? I didn't even bother watching that.
Clobby used to say this. I'm glad you like it, but you are wrong. Or I'm like you like it, but I disagree.
Clobby is such a good dude. Okay, I gotta get my glass refilled. I'll be back in 1 minute. We're gonna continue this great conversation.
No, I have to say I've not seen that film, and I have no desire to see it.
I have so many issues about that film, and my worst issue, the movie shit. I don't care. At the very end, they show Star Fox and Pip the Troll when they already did the Infinity Saga, so you cannot have Star Fox and Pip the Troll on Infinity Gauntlet because Thanos is dead. Yeah. And then they do Adam Warlock on Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's not the real Adam Warlock, by the way, but they do Adam Warlock. Again, Thanos is dead. The best part of Adam Warlock is him kind of reaching out to some sense of heroicism by dealing with Mr. Fantastic and then dealing with Thor. He meets the High Evolutionary, gets the name of Adam Warlock, and then he becomes frenemy with Thanos. And they have this cool relationship where they actually care about each other, but they want each other dead. it works.
Yeah,
It's great.
it
I love
works.
it.
Yeah, I still have not seen that third film. I've watched. I love the first two films. I think they did a really good job on those. Again, they're not really Guardians of the Galaxy. They're like a new Guardians of the Galaxy, which
It's
was
not the
quite
original
interesting
team.
that they gave that nod at the end when they had Sly Stallone in as the old Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
That was really quite good, I have to say. But no, I've still not seen that third film. I don't know why. I'm just sort of reticent to watch it.
I will say if you like Adam Warlock, there's no reason to watch that film.
Right. Okay. I'll stay away from it then.
And I'm saying this, I'm quite younger, so I was in the era where Peter Quill was part of Guardians of the Galaxy on the comics. I like the character. I love the character. In the movies, I love what they have done with that. But I will say Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is a great comic book movie. They miss in almost every character that is not in the team that they already had. And they screw the High Evolutionary is not the same. It's absolutely not the same. It doesn't feel like this maniacal being that looks like a lizard, by the way, that actually wants to create the perfect race just for the hell of it. There's no game. He just wants to see something perfect.
Right.
And that's a fun character. This character wants domination and wants extermination, and that's not the same as him just being obsessed with perfection.
Yeah, well, you see, that's not a popular thing at the moment, is it?
Yeah.
Perfection, objective beauty, and perfection is not very popular in certain circles. So you can see why they veered away from that.
Yeah, they miss with Adam Warlock. They made him too childish, too much of a mama boy. And if you remember when he first appeared on Fantastic Four, he's a bit empty. He doesn't have that much knowledge, but he's still trying to do something else. He is not trying to fight the Fantastic Four. Actually, he gets in the sight of the Fantastic Four at the end. And then when he goes into space and he starts to have all his adventures, you see his growth, but he's not childish. No. He's just empty. He's new. And I think they already did something like the Adam Warlock that they should have had with Vision. At the end of Age of Ultron, when the Vision is about to kill the final Ultron. And Ultron goes, "Are you that naive?" Well, I was born
yesterday.
Yeah, that just you see, that's another film that gets a little bit of.
We are defenders. Clobby is alive. Clobby and I were defenders of that movie to the very. We fought tooth and nail against people. We were not afraid to have that conversation.
No,
we were.
It was a great film. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we'll fight this fight. We're ready to die on that hill. We'll bleed on the hill slowly. We're in for the long haul. And I'm still, Clobby may not be here with me, but I'll make up for him fighting that fight. Love it.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Again, is the essence of Ultron.
Yeah,
it's not correct to the comics.
Oh yeah, it's not created by him. It doesn't have that arc of actually trying to solve world problems before becoming maniacal, so you don't get the full taste of Ultron, and also you don't get the versions of Ultron because there's iterations on the comic. You have the original Ultron that is basically an artificial intelligence, then you get Ultron on a body that leads into Ultron 5, that is the one that most people are accustomed to. That is the one that fights the Avengers and everything, but you missed all the extra context, and you missed Hank Pym becoming crazier and crazier, and that feeding into Ultron. And we all remember that moment when Ant-Man basically slaps the Wasp.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, you're not allowed
That's
to do
because Hank Pym is basically breaking apart during
Yeah.
all that era. And you don't get that. Instead, you get the Hank Pym that is on Ant-Man, that you never see him as Ant-Man, and you never see him as Yellow Jacket. You never see him as an actual threat, as Giant Man. You don't get that. And
No, but then they have to do all these things in 2.5 hour segments,
yeah,
and that's why you can't expect them to do everything. They have to adjust it. And like I say, while they had the essence of it, it was good. I thought they had the essence of Ultron in it, and that's what they needed. And
No,
I really enjoyed the movie.
They
so.
got the essence of Ultron. He acted like a dude who wanted extinction, which is what we want from Ultron. Yeah, and I agree.
Silver
Yes,
was
the
great.
changing that part of the origin story, it's a valid argument. I will not argue with that. But the entertainment factor, having the Avengers fighting side by side, and the fact that they had a cool Hawkeye story on it, which was great too. They made Hawkeye matter. Come on. I was all in. I maybe the only argument we could have was probably maybe the Hulk Black Widow subplot. Not necessarily bad, but definitely on the weaker side of things. But the rest of that movie, the action was great. The third act was great. Like the lifting up a lot of the land. And say the characters have see Captain America's shield come back to him like it was Mjolnir. Come
Yeah.
on.
But you see,
Come on.
that's the problem with people that just they have issues with these films. So maybe they're not exactly like the comics. It's like you can't do that. It was my argument with Marvel. Obviously, Disney and Marvel don't care about comics. Well, certainly Disney doesn't.
Oh, that's obvious.
Okay, because if they did, they would have had a 616 line. They'd have had an Ultimate line. They'd have had an MCU line. And you'd have been able to get spandex heroes, or you'd have been able to get leather-clad heroes. You'd have been able to get whatever you want, and there would have been spinner racks in every cinema that there was an MCU film in. But they didn't care, so it didn't happen. This was the perfect opportunity to reinvigorate mainstream comics, and it didn't happen because they don't give a shit.
Iron Man died on the comics when Iron Man was huge in the films.
Yeah, exactly. And it was crap, and they don't care, and that's why it didn't happen. It's because, and this is an argument I have quite a lot, is take ideology and whatever creatives you disagree with out of the process. The problem is that in 30, 40 years ago, Marvel's business was comics. It didn't matter that they sold the occasional lunchbox. It was comics. So the executives, right the way down to the guy that did the print work, was all about making great comics. And now they're not. And there's lots of people passing through the industry, going to other places like Netflix and what have you. All right. And they don't care about comics in the from top to bottom, apart from
shame on them for that. Shame on them for that.
Apart from a few creatives which do care about comics, there are people out there in the mainstream that do care. Okay, but the people at the top don't give a shit. Okay, because they don't make enough money. Okay, it's not about making money. It's about how much money. And what you need is people in the comics industry with, like, I don't know, several million in the bank who are prepared to say, I can make $100,000 profit out of this a year and make great comics. But Disney aren't interested in that, and kind of understand it. They're not interested in that, and that's why you see mainstream comics in the problem that they're in, because there's just not enough passion high up for comics, and that's another issue that you see in the films. Okay, so the essence that you got in that first 10 years, okay, you got great MCU films, and now it's all being dictated by the crap that followed it, and that's why you're not getting the great films anymore.
They sped rush. They took elements of some stuff from certain decades, but then they sped rush it all to get to current year.
Marvel,
which is the area that's been proven to be the most reviled. It wasn't even hearsay, but they sped rush it, and they are absolutely committed to it. You'll have the anomaly that will do well, which I'll always give credit to
The
E1
Spider-Man film with
Spider-Man No Way Home.
with
I
the
really
three
enjoyed.
was
Yeah.
just fantastic. I loved it. Okay,
I
but the
loved
rest of
it
it was
too.
crap.
You
Oh.
know why? You know why they wanted to make good comics to attract a lot of people. The main business was not comics, was the ads. The
Of
ads
course.
were a great source of revenue, and the more comics you sold, the higher the prices for the ads. So they needed to sell a lot. They were hungry to make good comics because that meant that they will sell a lot of ads.
Yeah.
Vince, and this is obviously me being the capitalist, me speaking. When he says the problem is that they think the more money they make, the more they pumped it, the more they. I would have no problem with it if it's something that, even if I hate it, let's just say I hate it, if there's a audience that was responding to it. But as some guys I know like Geeks and Gamers say, it's like there's a indirect way of they're trying to condition people into thinking that it's somehow okay to lose the amount of money that they're losing, that someone will take care of it, someone will pay for it. It's okay if you keep taking these losses as long as you keep going with whatever it is that you want to push, because someone will be there to be your safety net. No, obviously, I have nothing to prove off of that, but does that make me think about it and think that there might be some merit to that? Well, yeah, you damn right, man.
Yeah.
It definitely it does. Now, if I had heard that, let's just say 2010, I would say that's out of the realm of possibility. But now that I know what I know in retrospect, 14 years later, I don't want to say it's not possible either, but I can't rule it out. I can't rule it out. I certainly can. I'd be more asinine to rule it out nowadays. Absolutely. Oh, that. Yeah. Oh, and the argument response, and outside of Spider-Man: No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine being their only profitable films, and then this is what they get for doing what they did. And
Where
Deadpool and
yeah.
Wolverine was retarded too, but I had a great time with how retarded it was.
That's what
It's
I
old
haven't
school.
seen that yet, but I've heard
Dude,
that it's
so
just great fun.
retarded.
It's great
It's
fun.
so stupid. I
And
love it.
Yeah,
and that's all that
exactly.
matters.
It's absolutely stupid. It's over the top. But also, there's a scene that most people don't actually give credit to. That you see, they first arrive into the wasteland, and they are doing a pan of the desert and everything, and you see comic book accurate Thor helmet and original run comic book accurate Captain America shield.
Huh.
And it's just randomly there. They never say anything about it. It's just there. You see in the backgrounds, there's things from old school comics that I can assure you that anybody on Marvel right now will know shit about. But the guys doing this movie, they not only knew, they were in love so much that they make it perfect. When you see that helmet, you know the guy that was doing that helmet was absolutely in love with old school comics because he's not trying to update it, he's not trying to make it cooler, it's just the best helmet you will ever have.
But you see that's where the films work. I was saying earlier, you can't expect films to be exactly comic accurate. And what they're doing is they're making films with the essence. So, for instance, Deadpool, which is Deadpool 3, which has had its complaints about its story, and from what I can understand, they're reasonable complaints. But the essence of Deadpool, the essence of what you
It's
wanted in
there.
that, there.
Oh, it's
And
there.
then on top of that, because they can't make the films just for the fans, okay, they have to make them for a wider audience. They have to make them so they work in a movie. Then they give you those Easter eggs that you're talking about, okay, and that's the gift back to the people that love this.
Especially since they
that's
made
why it's
comic
good.
Easter eggs. It's one
Yeah.
thing. It's easier to do movie Easter eggs, but they did a lot of comic
And that's
book
great.
Easter eggs.
That shows a respect for the fans. It shows a respect for people.
They didn't have to do that.
No, exactly. I'd say that in my campaigns all the time. There are no toxic fans. Okay,
Mhm.
people have a right to have an opinion about IPs because they pay for them. Okay, they
Yeah.
support them, so they have a right, and it doesn't matter how bad their opinions are; they've got a right to voice them. Okay,
Straight up.
and it's just that just let the fans, say what they want to say. It not everybody's, you can't please everybody all the time. You just can't. But
And
if you
that's
get the
fine.
essence, if you just have the right heart in a production, whether it's a comic or whether it's a book or whether it's a film or an anime or whatever it is, then you're gonna get people on your side because it's heartfelt. It's like you say, the guy that put that helmet together, he loved what he was doing and he loved the source material, and people appreciate that.
Yeah, and somebody name drop Henry Cavill. When they have that
Oh, I
scene of
love
the
Henry Cavill.
Calvarian,
I could be gay for Henry Cavill.
everybody, man.
And my
As a
wife says, "Oh,
general
it's
rule,
your boyfriend."
no, as a general rule, heterosexuality has a small clause that says Henry Cavill is okay. It's basically the same clause that you used to have with Sean Connery before he went too old. Sean Connery was, at least when he was Bond, he was getting old, the man. But
He got
yeah,
all the guy stuff.
those scenes on Wolverine are the ones that actually made the movie, and the fact that they were willing to joke about every aspect of current Marvel, because they didn't have to add the ATB, they didn't have to add anything from Loki, anything from there, because it was unnecessary. They did it because it was funnier, because
Yeah,
that way they could add jabs to everything Marvel
yeah.
without feeling guilty about doing it in an undercover way, trying to avoid censorship and everything. They were straight up. This idea is stupid. This whole organization is absolutely stupid, and we will make fun of it every single moment. And when they go with the black lady that is the right now is the one in charge of the ATB, I don't know if you have seen the deleted scene. They had a scene when uh, she goes for Deadpool's friend. I don't remember the name, but every Deadpool has one, right? And he's still in the Deadpool suit, so you can see his package and everything. And she's thirsting over him, and it's glorious because the whole scene is basically she diminishing herself as a thirsty woman. And I love that scene. They should have kept that on the movie.
Well, then they just get too many people screaming on Twitter for that, wouldn't they? That's the trouble.
Dude, when he's on the suite, you can see his cock and balls all the time, and they focus on that.
It's great that they did that because it needed to be done. I mean, my son watched Loki, the series, and he said it was okay. As soon as I found out that they'd just thrown the gems, the
The
gauntlet
Infinity
gems,
Stones.
the Infinity Stones, it's just like, oh well, they're just a throwaway thing. It completely put me off the entire series.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Because
that's
it
a
effect-
bridge and a
yeah.
DEI bridge.
It
too
effectively
far.
invalidated everything I'd watched up till then.
Yes.
yes,
I
So
I
I was
agree
know.
like,
on that.
I'm not going to watch
I
that.
will give them this. Canonically speaking, on Marvel, way before, and I mean, this should be 2000s to 90s. We already had established that the Infinity Gems, not Infinity Stones like in the movies, the Infinity Gems only work on the dimension they were from. So if you took
Yeah.
the Infinity Gems to another dimension, unless you had the seventh Infinity Gem that appears on a crossover between Marvel and DC, the Infinity Gems will be rendered absolutely useless in another dimension. So there was already a precedent for this. The thing is that they never explain it like that. So when you see it, it's just they are basically saying that the Infinity Stones are useless because they are useless. No, they are useless because they depend on the energy of the universe where they are from to work, because they are the source of creation on that universe.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that's fine. I can live with that. That's great. But they just said they just like you say, they didn't explain it. They just threw it away and went, "Oh, they're just like paperweights." And it's
Yeah,
like,
that
okay,
was
I don't want to watch that. I'm not interested. Whereas if they said, "Ah, right, okay, yeah, they don't mean much here, but you know, in your universe, you know, they're the ultimate power." It's like suddenly it makes it interesting. You
yeah.
know, it's,
They miss a lot.
Dudes. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you're gonna start a whole conversation there and blazing.
yeah,
Guy,
Loki has been defeated on the comics in the most stupid ways possible, but they make it fun because
yeah,
Loki is a fun character.
a lot of things
yeah,
can be forgiven when it's fun. That's we
exactly.
a lot. We won't say all because there's always gonna be exceptions, but that's just how it is. However, though,
Brr.
I haven't done this with my arms in a long time, Esther. So I should tell you tonight's a really good night. Our readers are everything. There are no toxic fans. If you love comics the way they used to be, a fun, action oriented hero's journey, then you are in the right place. And when you guys are hungry for our stories and lend your support, we'll keep making books. Russ, we need to go over this one extra time
Okay.
for our chat here, which luckily has been here, hanging out with us,
What a
enjoying the
chat.
show,
Yeah. Like I hung
and
out with all this
backing your
time.
book. This I
Yeah.
feel like we definitely got to give this one more girl on, in case even if we could slip one more back or two, that's gravy, icing on the cake. But the fact that people have given your time and there are people who are enthusiastic is great. Refresh people's minds on Kull the Conqueror and what you're aiming for with the Atlantean issue number 1.
Okay, the Atlantean issue number 1 it's ongoing. It's episodic content. It's like the old Savage Sword of Conan books, magazines. So we're going to go for 3 a year. So there'll be 3 next year. There's 1 this year, and the idea is it's the continuing story of Kull and Brawl after the Shadow Kingdom. You can pick the Shadow Kingdom up in this campaign. Actually, you can pick a hardback version of it up, or you can pick it up on Amazon or over at Comic Critical Blast website, or over on Barnes and Noble. And that was our version of the Shadow Kingdom, and it's as close as you can get to the original Robert E. Howard text. At the end of that, Kull and Brawl have made a pact, and they're going after the Shadow Kingdom, which is effectively the kingdom of the Serpent Men, the shape changes. And this is our buddy cop road trip series where they go out finding those guys, and on the way they get into scrapes and adventures, and it's Dungeons and Dragons. It's the original Dungeons and Dragons. We like to call it tits and dragons, but that's what you're going to get. You're going to get great fun. It's going to be great fun storytelling. It's like the Savage Sword of Conan books. It's black and white with a great color cover. You get a print every time. We do an original of the cover in black and white and in color. And Randy's writing some great work, and he's being true to the Robert E. Howard characters, and that's what we want to do. And just tell those stories and communicate that to our readers. So there you go. Quality and consistency is something that has been missing in the comic book industry. In all fairness, Titan with Conan have brought it back in a big way, and we're doing the same thing. So there you go.
Look at that, guys. Seriously,
Double D's and dragons. I like that, DB.
Nice.
Yeah, DD.
Double D's and dragons. There you go.
Oh, you guys are cracking me up. we got a very lively chat in here tonight. I absolutely love Incher, so we got this. That's the chat makes the show always. It's not even close. They always add a whole other layer, a depth of dimension that the panelists could not do. It's wonderful. We thank you guys for it. But guys, seriously, get on this because this is the first issue of this. And after what I've read, now that I've seen the proof in the Belgian chocolate pudding with the Shadow Kingdom, and I have to emphasize on Belgian because Belgian chocolate's really damn good.
It's nice, yeah.
Right? It's fucking nice. The results are proven, and I'm going to use political words here, but the choice is clear. See what I did there? The choice is clear. These guys live up to what they do, and it's time to show these gentlemen. And on top of it, not only do you get a last story, but at the reduced price from 25 to 15.
We're undercutting everybody out there, but it isn't color. It is black and white, but it's quality black and white. It's ink work with brush with a wash. So there's a lot of effort put into the artwork. It's original artwork. It's physical. It's real. There is no AI in this. Okay, it's the real thing, and it's done with a lot of love.
In magazine, black and white, Savage Sword style, traditional format. This is the one, guys. This is one. Which, by the way, and to those who have Tyrannus, Brian McCann, Vulcan Lives, I think there was another gentleman. Thank you, guys. But guys, and this is the freaking white. And Russ, when does this campaign end?
The campaign ends at the end of October. While we're going to print, there will be a few days where it's in like a storefront version, and then we'll close up, and we should be getting the books to everybody by the end of November, really, because the book's finished, so it's ready to go to print.
Is it magazine sized?
Yes, it is. Effectively, what I really wanted to do was I wanted to make it exactly the dimension of a Conan comic, a Conan magazine. Okay, but there you go. I wanted to make it that dimension, but unfortunately, because of the printing process, we can't do that. So it's slightly taller with folios on the bottom, but it is a square of format page, so you get quite a lot in the page. It's a magazine format. It'll be square bound, not stapled, so it'll have a strong binder to it, and you can collect them, and they'll look rather nice on a bookcase. There you go.
You see, you guys, you heard the man here with this. So okay, now this is, I don't want to know if I want to call this my wishful thinking hat, or more maybe this is like you decide where the story goes if it calls for it. Are there any other major Howard characters you would like to bring into this on the hero side?
We can't do that because obviously we'll get chased. By the people that
literally cannot.
Literally
like
cannot.
a couple of years before.
Okay, if you could today, which by the way, Vulcan Lives, have a great night, sir. Thank you for backing the book.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, sir. If you could bring in one character, just one. Well, let's make it complicated. One character of your choice today, for whether it's an issue, an arc, whatever. Who are you bringing in to join the Atlantean?
I'd love to do a Solomon Kane backup story. Ooh. I would love to do that, but again, I can't do that. That's just not something we can do. Unfortunately, we do have a new characters because who's the snake guy? The Kull's enemy, who was in the Conan film.
Thulsa Doom.
Thulsa Doom. That's it. Sorry, my old brain is having trouble. Thulsa Doom. We can't use Thulsa Doom.
Okay, let me say this. This is really important. Conan becomes public domain on 2028,
Yeah.
and after that comes Solomon Kane.
Yeah.
So we are close.
We're very
Yeah.
close. Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
maybe I'll do a run of this and then we'll do something else. But at the moment, I can't use those characters. I can use Kull, although I can't put Kull on the character, which is why it's on the cover, which is why it's the Atlantean. Although I think that is quite a good title.
I
for
love
it.
that. I think it's outstanding.
So I can't put Kull on the character on the cover because Kull is trademarked as well because of the film in the 90s with Kevin Sorbo. So there's certain things you can't do, but what we can do is we can do the Shadow Kingdom because that is fully public domain, and we can use the characters from the Shadow Kingdom because they are fully public domain, and that is exactly what we are doing. So we move on from there. So we have our own main villain, and she will be making an appearance.
Nice.
So there you go.
Red Shadows, the first book for Solomon Kane, is public domain
Really?
on 2028.
Okay, that might be the first thing we do then.
The annotation.
I just have to wait and see what goes on. I'd love if I have. Yeah, thank you, Brian. Yeah, Thulsa Doom. If I have any choice in this, this will be the thing I do till I retire.
No.
So I want this to be my legacy. I want this to be the thing that I leave.
That's the dream, man. That's the dream.
We'll see. I can certainly do a year of this. Okay, I've invested myself and my money into this, so I can certainly do a year of it, maybe 18 months, and we'll see where the readership goes. If I can get it over 300, I can make it a permanent thing. Okay. So I've already done the figures. I've already done the math on it.
The math. Okay. Wow. No, that's good. And that's an important thing. You want to make sure that the demand is there, the need is there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I absolutely respect the hell of it. Well, dudes, as I have always said on the show 100 times plus times over, because once upon a time this was the Comic Shop Talk. And then once Clobby passed on, we renamed it to Clobby's Comic Shop. I always say you end the show when you leave the audience wanting more. So please, if you're someone who catches this post-show, you can leave a comment in the comments, literally, or reach out to us on Twix, aka Twitter X. Let us know that you have additionally back this book on top of the great gents who back this book tonight. This has been a absolute joy to hang out with Russ once again for round 2. I think this was an even more debaucherous round of drunken toxicity of conversation. That means round 3 is probably gonna be like the fatality Mortal Kombat style, which means I have to get my liver extra ready for round 3, whatever that is. But guys, thank you for backing this book. It's been so damn fun to hang out tonight.
Yeah,
just talking Robert E. Howard for 2.5 hours. That is the fun that we need to have, and we're going to continue to have on shows like Clobby's Comic Shop. We'll let Mr. Russ plug his way out first on the way out. So, Russ, whatever you want to say. I know you've already plugged the book, but if you want to do it again or just say something else, it don't matter. This is right now. The floor is yours.
Okay. If you have any trouble with the Stripe payments over on Fund My Comic, do let me know at the end of the campaign. If you can't pay for it in any way, just let me know. We'll sort something out. Okay. Outside of that, you can go find my stuff over at russleach.com. Okay. I've also got a website. I also got a YouTube channel, called Comic Book Black Belt. Yes, I am a black belt. I'm a 4th Dan black belt in karate, in Wado-ryu and Korean karate. So yes, I am a black belt, but also I very much love comic book art, and you can find out about more comic book art over at my channel, Comic Book Black Belt. We do a show on a Friday morning, Comics by Night, and a Sunday Funnies, where we just look through old comics. Okay, so check those shows out. There's lots of great stuff in there, great artists, great creators that we look back on. So you can go find that out at Comic Book Black Belt. That's the YouTube channel. You find all my social media connections over at russleach.com. And if you're interested in the stuff that I do, please sign up for the email list that you can pick up there over at russleach.com. There you go. That's me. That's how I'm done.
All right, dude. It's been.
Oh, and one other thing.
Oh,
Thank you so much for everyone who's backed. And thank you to the chat for being so nice to me tonight. Thank you.
No, dude. Thanks for coming back on here and hanging out with us again. I think we had an even wilder time tonight.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I love doing this with you, man. We'll have to do round 3, and maybe it'll be before issue 2 of the Atlantean, and we'll have more great dude conversations. It'll be diabolical. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. It'll be great. All right, man. Susie, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I know you do. Pablo does. Our chat appreciates it. Have a great night and weekend, sir. Let's bring it on to Pablo.
Hey, more videos coming to Midnight Edge. Not even my government was able to stop videos from coming. So, gotta admit, props to Midnight Edge. We are fighting against a government to get videos out. So, no, a couple of governments actually. Norway's government, the US government, and my government. Nice. We're the rebels. More things coming, and well, I will keep surviving. And if the worst happen in my country, don't worry. I will survive, and most likely I will have a bunch of. Have you ever seen Rambo?
Oh, is Snow White? Is Peter Parker Spider-Man?
Yeah, those scenes on the jungle, most likely what my future entails. So it's going to be fun. One day, man. One day.
One day, I want Pablo to be in America, and he's in America. It'll be absolutely, like, seriously, straight up, next level, rancid amputation, diabolical. Nothing about that term makes sense, but it just sounded cool to say at the moment.
Brothers, as always, I'm really glad to having this time to just unwind and enjoy. And well, let's see what the future brings.
Agreed. Yes, we were on Rumble the entire time, aka the Green Machine. I will plug the link to the show as we close out, just so you can at least sub to then, and that way if you want to watch it on Rumble going forward, you have the option. And I'm just gonna say Rumble. I'm tired of sugarcoating it the Green Machine. If I get demonetized, honestly, fuck it, whatever. I want people to be able to say what they want. If that means I get demonetized, whatever. This is not my main source of income. I get it for why those who do. I get it. I'm not going to knock on them. A lot of my peers, this is the main source of income. Fine. No disrespect, but here, we're just saying it's fucking Rumble. That is where you can. That's the link to the Rumble stream of the side. You want to sub and they can watch on the show going forward there. Awesome, great, do it. Yeah, Vince is lonely over there, so please help the man keep company over there. He's in good company on Toxic Tuesday, but for Clobby's Comic Shop, we gotta bring him some people. So help make the difference. Even though it seems like there's 7, 8 watching, but you gotta be silent on that Rumble. So no, seriously, can't watch right. And that's fine. But at least make the account and have it there, because there will be, especially when we do shows like Toxic Tuesday, we make it now halfway point. We make that show exclusive on Rumble because that way we can, well, say whatever the hell we want. So it is fun and freeing. We can be on a platform where you can do that. And on top of it, when you get the Rumble rants, aka their equivalent of super chats, you get more money from it. So you take the good with the bad. And for me, those are good that outweighs the bad. So anyways, Pablo, thank you, like Russ, for being here, sir. You have a great night weekend. I always have a good time to have a great show. And nice that we held the fort down with just the three of us gents. Oh, and I even though I'm not in your country, trust me, I hate your government too.
We all do.
It's got the word government in the description. Of course you hate it.
Okay. For the last week, sorry, I don't know, I was gonna say few, but the last week I actually was able to bring out some videos. One, I talked about the Aquaman Jeremy Adams. You should watch that. You should if you haven't. I'm gonna post that one in the chat because my Blade video is doing pretty good, so that's good. But I'm gonna post about the Aquaman video in the chat so you can watch it after the show. And there you go. Watch this after the show, guys. Right here, link right there. Watch it. Talks about why there's hope. There's slivers of hope. At the DC slivers. Oh, other than that, we'll be back here next week. Clobby's Comic Shop. Watch my second to newest video in the chat. And if you haven't watched the Blade video, go ahead and do that too. On top of that, I was able to actually crank out 3 videos in the last week, which is nice because I have not had the time to do that in a while, so it felt good to do that. But awesome to have Russ on here tonight. Glad we got more backers for his Atlantean comic. I'm happy he's going to finish up this campaign strong, and I can't wait to have him on again whenever that is. We're going to make sure, though, we do it sooner than issue 2. That's going to happen. That's a believe that. Until then, guys, Jennifer Grover, thank you for your Canadian super chat. Christian Dorm, thank you for your member chat. Next week, outside of Clobby's Comic Shop show, and then getting another video out, there will be a member stream Thursday morning for sure. I was hoping to do it like yesterday, but stuff got in the way. But for sure next week, Thursday morning, and Toxic Tuesday, the week of Halloween, we are going to be talking Blade, the original Wesley Snipes flick Blade.
The best.
Straight up. I mean, back in 1998, a dude, became Blade. And when it happened, it was just like, oh, that's cool. There was no concern about what was on his skin. It was just, dude, Wesley Snipes' Blade is fucking badass. How could you go wrong with that? And it was just another badass freaking movie. Because as Wesley Snipes has been very well documented and saying since July of this year.
Where do you get that little beauty?
That's Punisher's AT4.
Which Punisher? There's been like 5 of them.
There's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade.
Yep.
Had fun disputing that with the man.
They still pay for the retainer for Marshall Hawley. They are still having a lot of issues with payments for the retainer. They don't have the retainer anymore. So, they are paying for something they won't get. Suck that, Disney.
I tell you what, there's only one turn sidekick, and that's his.
Yep.
And Brian McCann celebrates 8 months of membership. He's a balls to the wall member. Thank you, Brian, for being a member for 8 months, sir. I gotta add my clip here to this new streaming program. I will soon. So next time you're on here, I'll make sure the accept clip of balls to the wall is ready. I apologize, I don't have it here. I've been adjusting a lot lately because of this new streaming format, because of StreamYard's price hike. I've been trying to adjust accordingly. But come back next week, Toxic Tuesday, Blade, or Clobby's Comic Shop, or both. or just watch the videos I put on last week, or what's coming up, or do all the above. I appreciate that. But even better, I know you did, but for the others in chat, back the Atlantean #1, because that's even cooler than anything I do. Seriously, I'm just the guy who's here to talk about things. Guys like this, I bring on, and they bring stuff to compete and have fun with, and bring great, wonderful, badass, toxic culture. That's just like anyone who wants to enjoy this can. It don't matter where you come from, it don't matter what you look like. You can be Mike Tyson who acts like a camel, and you'll enjoy this.
Oh man.
Time to go.
It's time for me to go to bed. Okay. All right. This is good. I gotta go to Rumble, and I gotta go to the Rumble. I gotta end this manually, but guys, you all have a good night. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Cheers. Goodbye. Good fight. Good night. Oh.